Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order for January 25th, 2021. We have quite a few council members on the phone, and the mayor will be running this meeting. He's just having a little bit of technical difficulty. So we are going to go ahead and start with the invocation, and Council Member Hare is going to do that for us tonight.
Thank you.
Please stand.
Mayor Pro Tem. Lord, we just want to thank you for life. We want to thank you for healing, for blessings. We thank you, Father, for what you're doing across the globe, across our nation. We thank you, Father, for the new president and the incoming staff. We ask you, Father, in Jesus' name, to give them the support that they need, Father. Help them, to strengthen them to go about doing what needs to be done for our nation. We also, Father, as we go into this new year, we honor those that have fallen due to COVID. We ask you, Father, to uplift their families, give them strength to move forward, to go forward in this year with the loss of one of their loved ones. Father, we continue to ask you to look over on our city. Help us, Father, with all the challenges that we may have. We ask you, Father, to help the council to work diligently together in accomplishing the goals of the citizens across our city. And Lord, we just continue to ask you to strengthen our bodies. So many of our loved ones right here at home have become sick. Some have lost their lives. Just one I received this morning that lost her life. Father, I ask you to strengthen the young lady and her family that I heard about this morning. We thank you, Jesus. We ask you to help us with the business that we're getting ready to do tonight. And Father, all of our council members that are out that are dealing with the issues and sicknesses and illnesses, Father, we ask you to strengthen their bodies also. All of these things, Father, we ask in Jesus' name. And we all say amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Hare. So we are going to go ahead with the announcements. So first on the line, we have Dr. Green from the Cumberland County Health Department to give us an update. Have we got her ready to go? Okay.
Good afternoon, council members. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to provide an update on our COVID-19 vaccination efforts. I will start by reviewing just briefly where we are in terms of the priority groups. So approximately 2 weeks ago, the State Health Department updated their priority groups and simplified them based on updated CDC guidance. And as the Health Department, we followed suit, and we sorry about that. And we shifted right along with the State Health Department. So we are currently vaccinating in groups 1 and groups 2. Group 1 is our healthcare workers and our long-term care facility staff and residents. That is an active group. The second group that we're vaccinating in is our older adults. This was the major change to the State Health Department prioritization, and that includes individuals age 65 and older. Our next group will be our frontline essential workers. That's group 3. And a few days ago, the State Health Department released a deeper dive into group 3. And so that includes our teachers, our daycare workers, some of our manufacturing workers, and some, but not all, government workers as well. After that will be our adults 64 and younger that are at increased risk for illness due to their underlying health condition. So those that have some other chronic disease will also be eligible in group 4. And then group 5 is everybody else after that. So I don't yet have a timeline for when we'll move into group 3. With the expansion of group 2 to include the 65 and older crowd, we have significantly more people to vaccinate in group 2. So we don't yet have an exact timeline. In terms of our plan, we are currently vaccinating at the Crown Coliseum. We use a hybrid model taking lesson learned from many other health departments and hospitals. And we use the hybrid model of first come, first serve and appointments. We do those for those that are currently eligible. So if you're eligible in the current group, those options are both available to you. We have a site plan in which we allow individuals to come outside. Our team meets you outside for registration. Think about a little bit like Chick-fil-A. We come to your car, we register you, and then we drive you through the building and through the Coliseum, where we have about approximately 36 stations set up where individuals can be vaccinated. After you are vaccinated, we exit you out of the building into a waiting area where you wait for your 15 minutes so we can observe you. The nice thing about this option is that it allows patients to remain inside their vehicle, and it allows us to operate in differing weathering conditions. So many of our days so far it has been rainy, but we've still been able to operate because our vaccinators are, even though we're driving you through a building, our vaccinators are still covered and inside. Our registration staff get a little bit wet, but we protect them with rain gear and make sure that they're able to continue to register as long as the weather allows. That also allows us to continue social distancing and helps us to have people avoid sort of the waiting outside. We use the hybrid model because it helps us to also avoid wasting doses. So what we know and what we've seen and heard from other health departments and in some ways experienced ourselves is that when people miss their appointments or they're trying to make appointments in multiple places, so at the hospital or at the health department and maybe even in another county, you really only need one of those appointments, but you scheduled 3, which means you're going to miss one of those or 2 of those or multiple of those. And so in a clinical setting, we'd have to do something with that dose. And because of the storage requirements, oftentimes what happens is we have to waste that dose. But this hybrid model really allows us to, at the end of the day, when we have that first come, first serve, we can then divert that resource to somebody else that's waiting in line. So it really allows us to accommodate both of those things. Starting today, we launched on our appointment request form. You can now also request transportation assistance. So that is a new feature that went live on our form today, and we'll have more information about that in a press release in coming days. A few other information about our vaccination numbers. I'd encourage individuals to look at the State Health Department website. They have a dashboard where you can track by county of residence the number of vaccinations that each county has, the number of residents each county has been vaccinated. I'll note though, however, those numbers are not reflective of the number of vaccinations that the health department and the hospital has administered, because there is not a residency requirement for vaccinations. Therefore, we vaccinate quite frequently for others that are not Cumberland County residents. So that dashboard just reflects how many individuals in Cumberland County have been vaccinated. So on the health department side of things, to date, we have received 2,500 doses of Moderna and 4,875 first doses of Pfizer. We have cleared our shelves of 100% of our first doses. And we did that actually over the weekend. So we have 0 first doses available right now. I'll talk a little bit more about our allocation in just a moment. We have typically in the last several weeks, as we ramped up our clinics, we are able to do 900 to 1,300 doses per clinic, depending on supply. Sometimes we could do more, but we the time it doesn't allow, or we don't have enough doses per day. So we just received our allocation. The state health department allocates weekly. Our allocation for this week is 975 doses of Pfizer. So those we do not yet have that on hand. So when we receive that, we will be able to vaccinate an additional 975 residents. In terms of second doses, our second dose allocations match our first dose allocation with us, and you have a second dose with us as well. And those numbers, so far we have been consistent in getting our second doses as well. So most of our first and second doses of Moderna are not actually due until this week or later. So we are just now getting into that phase where we're doing second doses. It's important to note that we cannot use second doses as first doses. So you might hear us, you'll hear me in a moment talk about a second dose clinic. We cannot interchange those two. So if you have a first dose if you have a first dose with us, we're essentially saving your second dose for you, and therefore we can't give it to somebody else as a first dose. So we can't interchange those things. This week, our vaccination schedule, based on allocations from the state, we've shifted our vaccination schedule just a bit. Typically, we have vaccinated on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and an occasional Saturday, depending on our dose availability. This week is a little bit different because of the timing of the shipments of when our vaccination comes in. Tomorrow, we are still vaccinating, but it will be a second dose clinic only, and we'll have Pfizer and Moderna. We don't need an appointment to request your second dose. You can if you like, and people can request that online, but no appointment needed. This week on Wednesday and Friday, we'll have both available. We'll both have first and second doses. We'll have first doses of Pfizer and second doses of Pfizer and first doses of, or second doses of Moderna. We have not been allocated any additional doses of Moderna this week. So no first doses of Moderna. Again, we typically do our schedule, we do that hybrid model. So we have appointment slots 9 to 11 and 11 to 1 are our appointment slots. You can request those online. We have received a large number of appointment requests, far outstripping the supply that we have. For example, on the first day we launched, we had 1,700 requests for appointments. And those are similar day over day appointment requests. And again, this week we only have 975 doses, first doses. And then we're able to accommodate first come, first serve as we're able to based on our supply. So that's typically what our day looks like. And I'll pause there for questions because I think my 5 minutes is up.
Thank you, Dr. Green. I think we do have a couple of hands. I saw Councilmember Banks McLaughlin and then Councilmember Ingram.
Yes.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, can you hear?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to thank you, Dr. Green, you and your staff for all the hard work that you're doing. It was a lot of information to process, but just to make sure, and also for the viewers and the listening audience. So the first batch of the Merzona, that'll be what day will those come in for the first dose?
So we have, this week, we only have first doses of Pfizer. We have no doses of Moderna, and those will not be, we anticipate that arriving tomorrow. So we will not have first doses available until Wednesday.
Okay, so those individuals that, those individuals that went online to request appointment. Now, how does that work? Because I heard you mention that I think the first day was like 1,700 people that put in a request. Now, everybody that goes in and put in a request, those people are automatically eligible to receive the vaccine?
So we screen, one of the reasons we have the request form is because we screen for eligibility first.
Okay.
So there are a few questions that we ask based on the current phase. So we ask about your age or your work status, so we can, and then when we call you, we verify that eligibility, we register you in advance, and then we to get the appointment. So we do a little bit of screening to make sure that you're eligible, because we don't want you to get to the vaccination site and then get turned around.
Okay, thank you. And my last question is, are they able to go ahead and request appointment now, even though the Moderna isn't in just yet? Could they go ahead and still request it, or do they need to wait?
So if you want, what we have on hand each week is going to change. So
Okay.
we vaccinate, we don't often have options if you're getting your first dose, because typically in a week, we only get either get Pfizer or Moderna, and we don't know, it's a week over week allocation. So typically, last week, Friday morning, I knew what we were going to get for this week. So we don't typically get folks typically get a choice at the vaccination site. It's what we have available. If they want something different, then they would need to wait until we have that in supply and then come back.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Green. And also, it's great to hear that you guys will be providing transportation. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Councilmember Banks. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Green, thank you so much for being here with us this evening. And to follow the sentiments of the Councilmember Blake Biggs McLaughlin, thank you for all the work, hard work that you all have been doing in the midst of this pandemic. I wanted to ask a question about location. You're doing location at the Crown Coliseum. I understand that's the only location for vaccines. Is that correct? And are they doing it at the hospital as well?
Yes, so there are several locations.
Okay.
So we are at the Crown Coliseum, and I think I mentioned a couple reasons why we chose that particular location. And the hospital is vaccinating at the Rehab Center and then Health Pavilion North. And then Goshen Medical just became an enrolled provider last week, and they're also have vaccine available. They have a very limited supply, fewer doses than we do. And so I believe they are just ramping up their vaccination efforts. So there are a couple different places where vaccinations are available.
Okay, and then my second question, I think I have about four. My second question is as far as transportation goes, for individuals who are immobile and cannot leave their residencies. I know you provide transportation. However, if they cannot leave their residencies, what option is there for them?
So currently, we don't have capacity to do go into individual people's homes to do that. So what we'd encourage people to do is to try to connect with a transportation resource, whether that be, and again, we're going to be working with the Cumberland County Transportation folks so that we can, and your team, so that we can make sure that we get transportation for people that need it. But currently, we do not go into individual people's homes to provide the vaccine in their home. We don't have the staff capacity or the number of doses available to do that.
Got it. Okay, and quickly, has there, and I think I know the answer, has there been a growth of, I guess, an overnight growth or rapid growth of COVID cases?
In terms of our new positive cases?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. So we've seen a few days of decline. So after the holiday season, we saw actually a little bit of a decline of cases, and then it's actually been a little bit like a little mini roller coaster over the last, I'd say, 2 weeks. We'll see 2 or 3 days of decline, and then it will go right back up again. And then 2 or 3 days of decline, and then 2 or 3 days of increases. So we have not yet had that steady increase in cases, or steady decrease in cases yet. We've seen a decrease in our hospitalizations a little bit, and a little bit of a decrease in our case positivity rate, but not, we just haven't seen steady declines or inclines in either direction over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, and so I know that we're focusing on getting the vaccines out. My final kind of roundabout question is, what are we doing to mitigate COVID testing as a continuous effort? And are you welcoming in partners who want to partner to offer COVID testing so that we can be able to still monitor. And I say that because I've had some people reach out that would love to host some COVID sites in partnership, but they just don't know what the needs are. They understand that COVID vaccines are priority, but if there is somebody on the back end still providing COVID testing sites, is there space for that?
Yes. So the short answer is yes. So even though we suspended our COVID test sites, we replaced those. So for example, the health department staffed the testing site at Manna Church. And we brought in our state vendor, OptumServe, to replace our staff. So we were down for maybe a week or two, and then they came right back in on the back end and replaced that. And then the same thing for some of our other test sites, trying to get those back up and running. So we didn't want to leave a hole there. And so we're working with the state vendor to launch additional test sites. So that's something that we still work on, even though our staff are not actually doing the work. We work with our vendor to make sure that capacity is still there. And actually, not this most recent week ending, but the week prior, we did more tests that week than any time during the pandemic. We almost did 10,000 tests that week. And by we, I mean the providers in the county, not just the health department. That was the most that we've ever done in a week. So we're actually doing more testing, and there are still approximately 20 test sites. So if individuals want to partner to provide testing, there's a couple of ways I could think about to do that. One, if they're interested in being a site, we can try to connect them with our vendor. Our vendor is always interested in knowing where else they can launch tests. So they have, I think they're about hitting their max capacity, but we can certainly reach out for our team to do that. And then the other way to do that is if you have a vendor that has reached out to you and you want us to kind of say, we get a lot of, I'll say, spam with vendors saying they can provide things. And so if you want us to kind of take a look at it, say, hey, does that sound reasonable? Does this sound like a vendor that you've heard of? We can do that. I just ask for just a moment of patience with us as we kind of work through all of our email requests.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Green. I greatly appreciate you being here again tonight, and thank you for answering my questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All
Councilman,
right, so
Mr.
thank
Mayor, I'm
you.
sorry.
That's all right. So Council, I appreciate your patience. Tonight's a little different. So Mayor Pro Tem will help me recognize speakers via Zoom and in person. So Mayor Pro Tem, do we have any others who were speaking to Dr. Green before we let her go?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Dr. Green. I've reached out to your office a few times, and thank you all for supporting some community watch meetings we're going to be having this week to answer questions. One question that I'm pretty sure is going to come up, that always comes up to me: if a person has contracted COVID, gone to the hospital, been released from the hospital, if you can answer this, been released from the hospital, done their quarantine, and they are feeling better to go back to work, should that person be retested before?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Well, yes, before returning to work, because I've heard some conflicting answers to that. And so that's some of the questions that your team that are going to be with us tomorrow are going to have to answer or respond to. Please.
So the Centers for Disease Control currently does not recommend a negative test result to return to work. So early on, I think we heard a lot about 2 negative tests to come back to work. And really that, I think what they found is that people, even though they're no longer infectious, may continue to test positive, sometimes for several months, even though they're not a risk to others to spread COVID. So we don't recommend that employers require that negative test result to come back to work. If people are still symptomatic or they are still not feeling well, we want them to be completely recovered before they come back to work. We know that sometimes those symptoms tend to linger, especially sometimes the fatigue. People will continue to feel tired for a while. So really, that's why we use a time-based strategy. 10 days if you are tested positive until you can have mild illness. If you were severely ill, you had to be hospitalized for an extended period of time, we'll consult with you about your ending of your isolation period, but sometimes that's up to 20 days. But typically we use a time-based strategy, 10 days for a COVID positive test. And then if you are in close contact, we use a 7, 10, or 14-day quarantine period to return to work.
So a person can test positive, but not be contagious, and then it's okay to return to work, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
As long as they have hit their time period. So because you feel better doesn't mean you have to finish out your isolation or quarantine period.
Yes, it's so much. Well, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Pro Tem, Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, that's it for up here.
I'm sorry, Jennifer, can you take it where I can unmute myself? There's a delay in unmuting. Thank you, Dr. Green. Thank you and your team for a great job you're doing, and keep up the good work. And we're here to support in any way we can. So thank you for joining us tonight. All right, Council. Under announcements, I have a notice that Councilman Hare, then Councilman Wright, and Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, in that order, please.
Thank you, Mayor. To fall right in order with Dr. Green, I received a flyer that I was asked to make sure I put out there. The gentlemen of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Beta Chi and Delta Gamma chapters, in conjunction with the Gospin Medical Center, are having a free COVID testing. And that is going to be this Thursday, January the 28th. The location is 1100 Hillsborough Street. That's right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, from 1 to 3 p.m. And that's going to be at the Beta Chi Fraternity House parking lot. That's going to be right there. If you're on Hillsborough Street, you're right next to the parking lot of the social service, and it's just the opposite if it was the front of on Ramsey Street. So that's going to be this Thursday, the 28th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 1100 Hillsborough Street. There will be a free COVID testing facility, testing in the parking lot at the Omega Psi Phi fraternity parking lot. And if you need to have a test, this would be a great opportunity to come get a free COVID test. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilman Hare. Councilman Wright?
All right, I got it. Finally, they allowed me to unmute. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make a brief announcement on behalf of the Biden and Harris campaign that partnered with the Ford Foundation, and they partnered with the Heal the Land Ministries here locally. We have 80,000 protective masks that we're giving out to the community. And I wanted to make that announcement. We've given out about half of them, and we want to give them out to schools, organizations, nonprofits, and things of that nature to help get masks out there to protect our citizens. We understand, even though we're taking the vaccines and doing all those things, mask and distance is still required until we get this thing under control. So if any organization out there or school, I've given out plenty already, want to get these masks, contact me through the city, and we'll make sure we set a time for you to come by the church and pick up your mask. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to, I have an announcement. It's kind of a personal announcement, but 26 years ago today, I got started my most important job in life, and that was being a mom. So I wanted to wish my son, Jake, a happy 26th birthday. And 26 years ago, I had an 11-pound, 5-ounce baby that was 24 inches long. So that is my claim to fame. So happy birthday, Jake.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Happy birthday to your son. And that's a big baby. And I see they continue the trend now. All right. So, Council, if we have no other announcements, we'll move through the approval of the agenda, and I'll look to you for motions. Please go to Mayor Pro Tem so that she can inform me as to who would like to make the motion to approve 5.0. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Hare.
Councilman Harris, there's a motion to approve.
A
Is
motion
there
to
second?
approve the agenda?
Okay, Councilman Harris has made a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
By Councilmember Dawkins.
Councilman Dawkins was the second. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes by show of hands. Councilman Ingram, is there a discussion or is that a vote?
Excuse me, Mayor. I just need to make a quick, I don't know if I need to tell this to the manager or Miss Air. So I don't know what changed from the last meetings, but if we have council members on Zoom that are trying to make a second, we cannot unmute ourselves to do as such. But the last meeting we were able to do so, but I don't know what has changed. And so I think that'll probably be a problem later on when we are, going through the meeting, because if I wanted to second something, I could not, because I cannot unmute myself.
So what's a little different tonight is that typically, as I chair the meetings, I'm usually close to Ms. Ayers, who is able to signal me the Zoom participation information. And because that is not the case tonight, it's having to go through Mayor Pro Tem. So Ms. Ayers will still be able to see it. Plus, I'm able to also recognize your hand when you put it up on Zoom, Councilmember Ingram. So we'll work through the logistics on that. Maybe if we take our break, we'll talk about that. But right now we have a motion on the floor. It's properly seconded by Councilmember Dawkins, and this discussion is on this particular motion. Do you have an additional? Are those votes that I see? All right. If no further discussion,
Mr. Mayor, we have Councilmember Wright for discussion.
All right, Councilman Wright.
I'm sorry, that was a vote.
Okay,
but
Councilmember Ingram was. Councilmember
was
Ingram was. Okay, thank you, Councilman Wright. Councilmember Ingram, I see your Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Is that a vote or a? Okay, all right, Council. I'll look to you for your votes, and I'll call the votes out. Mayor Pro Tem Jensen. Motion to approve, yea, green or red?
Mr. Mayor, do you see our votes here on the chambers?
I do. Let me just say it out loud because I can't see it closely enough. So Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, you're green.
Green.
Councilmember Ingram. Councilmember Ingram.
That is green, Mayor Colby.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
All right. Councilmember Hare.
Green?
Councilmember Dawkins.
Green.
Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Councilman Wright.
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
And Councilmember Kinston.
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that motion carries unanimously, and Mayor is green. Motion carries, and we see your messages, and Ms. Ayers will be working to correct those logistical issues, Council recognized. Item 6.0 is the consent agenda. Mayor Pro Tem, are there any hands? I see Councilmember Ingram. Councilmember Ingram?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to approve the, I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of items 6.04, 6.013, property 344 South Cool Spring Street, and item 6.015. Those three I would like to pull. In addition, those were, one of them is one that I would like to pull, but then the other is two that Councilmember Waddell would like to pull for an up and down vote.
Okay, I see Councilmember Waddell's hand. So, Councilmember Waddell, did that suffice your?
Yes, I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the consent with the exception of items 6.04, 6.015, and 6.013. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes by a show of hands.
So, Mr. Mayor, it was 6.04.
Okay, so 6.04.
Yes, sir, and 6.015 and 6.013, 344 South Cool Spring Street.
Okay, so there's a motion to approve the consent with the exception of those items that were stated. Any discussion on the motion? Mayor Pro Tem, do you see any hands?
No, sir.
All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes for the approval with those exceptions. All right, now run down the gamut. Mayor Pro Tem,
Green.
Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Hare. Okay, he's green. Councilmember Dawkins. All right, and Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Councilmember Wright.
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
And Councilmember Kinston.
Green.
All right. Motion carries. I'll go to Councilmember Ingram for item 6.04. Would you like to?
Actually, Mayor, that's going to be Councilmember Waddell for 6.04.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilmember Ingram. For item 6.04, the reallocation of bond proceeds from the Cape Fear River Park project to the Senior Center West project. I just wanted to pull that for an up-down vote. So if someone would like to make a motion, I'm prepared to vote. I didn't want to have I've already articulated my reason for opposition in our work session when we discussed this, and so I'm prepared for just an up-down vote.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Wright?
I'd like to make that motion to approve 6.04 to transfer the fund for the West Park, the West Senior Citizen Center.
All right, so there's a motion by Council.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem.
I have Councilmember Dawkins with a second.
I think I saw Councilmember Banks McLaughlin's hand via the panel.
All
So
right.
we have a, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, were you there to make a second or?
Yes, it was a second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, Council, I'll call on you for your votes. Mayor Pro Tem Jensen?
Green.
Councilmember Ingram?
Red.
Okay, Councilmember, Waddell,
Red.
Councilmember, Hare,
Green.
Councilmember Dawkins. Green. Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
Councilmember, Kinston,
Green.
and Mayor Green. Madam Clerk, the motion carries 8-2. Those voting in favor was Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, Councilmember Hare, Councilmember Dawkins, Councilmember Davis, Councilmember Wright, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin, and Councilmember Kinston, and Mayor. Those voting in opposition, Councilmembers Ingram and Waddell. All right, motion carries. Item 6.013, Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. I would like to motion to approve the ordinance with a 6-month grace period. I've spoken with the property owner, and he is due to make the repairs necessary. And so I would like to allow him and his contractors that 6 months grace period.
So is that a motion, Councilmember?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram to approve this with the exceptions of, did your exception only apply to 344 South Cool Spring?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram to approve this item with the exception of those modifications he described with the 6-month grace period for property located at 344 South Cool Spring. Is there a second, Mayor Pro Tem?
Not that I see, but I do have a question.
All right, so let me dispose of this motion and then I'll come to you. Is there a second?
I'm
I'll
sorry.
second.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
second that,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
all right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram, a second by Councilmember Wright, and discussion. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman, sometimes in the past, when we have given the extended time, which I do support and will support tonight, we've also put a stipulation there that if the contractor or the owner did not meet that time frame, that it will just fall back into order under the unhabitable structures for demo without coming
Yes.
back to council. Is that a part of?
Yes, sir. Actually, when I spoke with, when I did speak with the property owner, I did make him aware of that. I'm sorry, I did not realize. I probably should have said that in the motion, but I did make him aware of that.
Okay, thank you. That was just really, I guess, for my clarity, but thank you.
Yes, sir. My apologies.
So,
Motion?
well, let me ask you this. If I understand what Councilmember Hare is asking and you seemingly agreed to, basically, and manager and city attorney tell us, if this is approved, could it be stayed? In other words, that it wouldn't be enforced until the 6-month period or some commitment was missed. Is that the way that we typically do that, Madam
Yes.
Attorney or
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir. It's set in essence, what I think Councilman Ingram is asking for is that the effective date would be entered in for 6 months from your action tonight. So if the property owner does not do the work, that it does not have to come back to council. As you'll see on the item that you didn't pull, which was 6.014, we routinely bring you back demolition orders to rescind. And so it is our hope, if council approves this modification for 344 South Cool Spring Street, that the property owner, you would enter in the demolition order, but it would not have an effective date except for 6 months in the future to give the property owner enough time to make the repairs and to work with staff. And once they've done that, we would bring it back to rescind the demolition order. If they had done the work, if they had not, as Councilman Bahir said, we would have all the authority we need to go ahead and abate this violation.
All right, so Councilmember Ingram, is that the motion that you would like to, that you've
Yes,
made?
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir. And exactly what city manager has said is what I was aware of. So, and Councilmember Harris. So like I said, if I need to restate the motion, I can do as needed.
I think we understand. So there's a motion by
Okay.
Councilmember Ingram with the modifications that there will be a 6-month period before the effective date begins. There's a second by Councilmember Wright. Any other discussion on this item? All right, seeing none in council, I will try to read the board. I'm telling on my age, the age of my eyes, but I'll try to read the board, or I ask Mayor Pro Tem to tell me what the board says if I can't make that out. So, council, I'll look to you for your votes if there are no other questions or discussion.
Council, can you have it?
Mayor Pro Tem, can you light the board?
Yes, sir. 1 second. Thank you.
All right, those in favor that are listed on the board, it appears to be Council Members Hare, Dawkins, Mayor Pro Tem, and
Kinston.
Kinston. All right. Council members who haven't voted, go to Council Members Ingram,
Green.
Council Member Waddell,
Green.
Council Member Davis,
Green.
Council Member Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
Councilman Wright,
Green.
and Mayor Green. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Councilwoman. Item 6.015, that's Councilmember Waddell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Coleman. For item 6.015, first, I want to, I guess, start by commending the committee that was set up a couple of years ago to discuss food and beverage tax split, and also the mayor and the mayor pro tem, who seem to have been able to come to some level of split and an agreement on behalf of the council. It's a good deal in general. I guess my concern is the sunset on this food and beverage tax for Cumberland County was originally intended to phase this tax out in 2026. And what I understand is this particular taxation was a referendum, so the voters voted on this. I can understand why there's a proclivity to want to lean toward some sort of a deal, particularly since the city and the county cannot come to an agreement where the ABC taxation is concerned. My concern is that by entering into this agreement, it does not honor the initial agreement that the voters of Cumberland County implemented when they said, we'll vote for this based upon these contingencies from the General Assembly. Now, I recognize that that is not, as city legislators, I do recognize that that's not our bag to carry. But as a county resident, it does give me some pause on wanting to support this. If that were not, if it were not a referendum, by all intents and purposes, I would be totally in agreement with this particular deal. And I'm having a bit of heartburn about which way to go about it, because I do recognize that it is for the city of Fayetteville a good deal, but there's that one little hitch that's hard for me to really get over. And I'll end by saying I'm curious as to what it would look like if the county were amenable to the ABC distribution, and does a deal like this make them comfortable in not having that dialogue with us? Because I do recognize, from being a part of the original committee that had this conversation, I recognize that if we don't enter into this agreement with the county, they will lose they will likely lose that stream of revenue. And then they will have to take it back to the voters of Cumberland County to ask whether or not the voters want to support some taxation for the purposes of building a facility for the arts, or we would have to do that. But so I mean, I get all that, but I just wonder, does this take that dialogue off the table for the city? Are we now not looking at the ABC revenue because we've entered into this agreement? And are we are we honoring the county residents and the commitment that the county made to sunset this based upon the debt being handled and taken care of at the Crown. So those are my concerns. I guess if staff would like to address them, they can. It's not necessary for me, but if any other members of council have some questions or concerns, I yield the floor. And then I guess somebody can go ahead and call for, make a motion and call for the vote, and then we can vote. Sir, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waddell. I wanted to kind of speak to this a bit since I've been involved with it for quite some time. This particular issue, the county, when they originally took this to the voters, if I'm not mistaken, it had an estimated sunset, which would be 2024, as you stated, but it was specifically to pay off the debt that was associated with the Coliseum. And so what they did and what they passed in their resolution with the vote in the referendum with the voters, you know, as you said, that's really not a city issue. I think what this does for us is, for the first time in over 70 years, the city will actually be like the other cities in North Carolina. In fact, we're the only city in North Carolina that currently doesn't have any take in the alcohol ABC sales that take place within the city limits. So this addresses that for us, but also since we had sent a resolution up a year or so ago to oppose the distribution or the extension of this, this is a happy medium for them to do that, because according to some of the commissioners and the county manager, that they would have to consider closing the Crown Coliseum because the debt is not paid. You know, it's kind of like amortizing your mortgage. You expect to pay it off in 30 years, but if anything has happened or you've added to it, it changes that scenario. So I think that's the way that I understand it, but I certainly understand your concerns and open up the floor for any other council members who have questions, or if staff need to clarify anything that I've mentioned. Councilmember Waddell?
Thank you for that. And I again, I think it's a very good deal that has been reached. And I think that, again, my hesitation, and I'm just going to say this one more time, and then I'm prepared for the vote. And it is very likely, and I say this for the benefit of the listening audience and for the benefit of any voter who plays this back later, it is very likely that I will support this particular initiative, because I do believe, based upon the volume of alcohol sales that transpire within the city limits, that the city should be receiving a portion of that revenue. And so this split, this distribution does help to generate additional revenue for the citizens of the city. And for that reason, I will probably support this, but I will challenge the citizens to say to not only the city, but also the county, if there's to be a future endeavor where there's an agreement that is struck on either side, that they will hold their legislators accountable to sticking to those guns. And so with that, I yield the floor, and I'm prepared, if there are no questions, I'm prepared, sir, for there to be a vote.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any other questions, Mayor Pro Tem? Any?
Yes, Mr.
questions?
Mayor, I have Councilmember Dawkins.
Thank you, Mayor Pro
Councilman
Tem. City Manager, I've got some questions for you. Approximately how much money is generated by the food and beverage tax and by the ABC tax total in the county? Isn't it approximately $9 million a year?
Sir, I don't have that with me right now.
It's about
Tracy?
$9 million a year. All right, as we've been explained to by staff months ago, how much is generated inside the city of Fayetteville for food and beverage tax and ABC tax? Do you recall what staff advised the council that amount of money was?
No, sir.
It's 90%. 90%. So now, if we were looking at $9 million and we generate 90%, and we approved this, we lose our leverage. So, I mean, I'd been willing to support this if we'd say, okay, we're going to extend the sunset for 5 more years, and then we come back and we discuss what would be fair for the city. So now it seems to me we'll get about $1.8 million in 4 years, according to this chart, and yet we're generating 9 million, of which 8.1 million is generated in the city of Fayetteville. So no, it's not a good deal for the city. And then we lose our leverage. I mean, the leverage that we have is the ability to say to county, look, because the gentleman's agreement was the city and the county would need to come together, and then the legislative delegation would go forward with whatever the proposal is. And I'm glad that we're getting something, because right now, how much are we getting now, Mr. City Manager?
Right now, we're getting nothing.
Zero. We are getting zero right now. So now I'm hoping that by the city, I'm assuming it sounds like it's probably going to get approved, and I'm going to vote against it so everybody knows. But the Crown, we lose about $2.5 million a year, the city and the county. And technically it's the county, but the city makes up about 60% of the population of the county, and about 80% of the total property tax revenue is generated by the city for the county. So I would hope that when the county sees that we're willing to take $1.8 million out of $9 million, that they'll be willing, let's look at this hotel motel tax, because the majority of that money is generated in the city. So yes, a council lady earlier said she might support it or probably will support it, but the issue is we're generating 90% of the money. And I'm trying to think, I ought to know what 1.8 million of 9 million is. That's
20%.
Well, 20%. Whoever said that, I applaud you for your math, because that's right on. That's probably my classmate, Councilman Hare. I don't know if it's my classmate Councilman Wright or not.
No, that's a
But
E. Smith,
I've made my point, and keep in mind, on a performing arts center, the average performing arts center in North Carolina, the big ones lose between $2.5 and $3.5 million a year. So I imagine if the county moves forward with a performing arts center, that's where they're going to get this money. And they sure hope a lot of people drink a lot of liquor and eat a lot of food and a lot of beverage. That's where the money is in the food and beverage, honestly, folks. So that's appreciate the time, Mr. Mayor, and I hope I was able to bring some information forward to our council members. This has been something I've been working on for years, and but I applaud the mayor and the mayor pro tem for getting this worked out. It's something, but I would rather we have a 5-year or even a 10-year where we got to come back and they got to work with us. Now they have no incentive to work with us. Thank you.
So thank you, Councilman Dawkins. I do have to clarify one thing, Councilman Dawkins. So I forgot to say this. So not only were we the only municipality not to receive any distribution from alcohol, but the food and beverage is only allowed, that additional 1 cent tax on food and prepared food and beverage is only allowed in 2 situations in North Carolina. One was here and the other was Charlotte. And my understanding, if I remember this correct, they were for specific uses. Charlotte may have been for construction of the NASCAR or one of their projects. So if this goes away, this is something that was unique to Fayetteville for the purpose of entertainment, which the county handled that. So it's not that we're losing something that all other cities are getting in food and beverage. If I understand it correct, no other cities are getting food and beverage with the exception of Charlotte. So it's not quite as extensive as you said, getting 20% of something of the 9 million, because this is something that's unique just to our community and to one other place, if I understand it correct. So just wanted to put that in perspective. Any other questions, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like. I would like to speak, and then Councilmember Dawkins would like to go for round 2.
Okay.
What I will say about this, during the whole food and beverage thing, I was part of in my younger years when it first started out. But the one thing that we have to remember sitting here as a city council is we were asked by the legislature to say, come together with the county, do a resolution, bring it up to us, and help us work this out for Fayetteville. I will say, you know, if anybody wants to call me a gambler, I gamble. I'll be a gambler on this. But something is better than nothing. And all 10 of us agreeing on this going up to the state legislature, and 7 of the county commissioners agreeing, and we are holding hands, singing Kumbaya, saying, yes, this is what we want, we have a better chance of getting it. But if this tax goes away, it will not come back. And I can almost say probably 90% it will not come back. So there will be no crown, and some people are okay with that. There will be no performing arts center, and some people are okay with that. But we have people coming in this city on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We're a service-oriented city. We feed people, and we have restaurants and food and beverage, and we just can't afford for that to go away. That will devastate a lot of things in our community. And yes, we're not getting any of it now, but the county is. So I just want everybody to think about that. Sometimes, you know, you have to take a win. It might not be the win you want. And, you know, everybody that knows me, I will say, what would you do if you were queen for a day? Well, sometimes you might just have to be a princess and go along with it. So with that being said, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Dawkins is next.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
And then I have Councilmember Waddell after that.
May I go now, or I can
Yes,
go?
yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You brought up an interesting point, and what I wanted to make sure our citizens know is we're the largest city in North Carolina that gets 0 for the hotel motel tax. Now, unless I'm wrong, city manager, please correct me, but my understanding is we get 0 for hotel motel tax money. Is that true? That is correct. Thank you. And we are the largest city in North Carolina that gets 0. So that's the next thing we've got to work on. The one thing we've got to do as a city is to make sure that, and yes, this will pass, and yes, we'll go sing Kumbaya in Raleigh if you, and I'll go with you. And but the thing about it is we've got a opportunity here to try to grow our revenues, and that's what the people want, because we can't do sidewalks, and we can't do, you know, we can't pave streets as quickly as we'd like. We can't put up street lights as quickly as we'd like. We cannot fix stormwater problems as quickly as we'd like. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Waddell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And also thank you, Councilmember Dawkins, for really breaking down very accurately what my thoughts were in terms of our negotiation position. I am very concerned that we are giving up our ability to negotiate, because the county does not want to see this expire. That's a revenue source for them. And I think if we, and I don't know, again, I applaud the negotiations that have happened thus far. I don't know if we've pushed far enough, because as Councilmember Dawkins stated, we can add in a term. We can be a little bit more deliberate about what we want to see as a city. And I just wonder if we've done that aspect, because this it's a big deal. Once the city council signs off on this, where do we stand then? So I would like some clarification on, I know that we always say something has to be unanimous in order for the General Assembly to walk with it. And last thing, I want to say this. When we talk about a performing arts center, in my mind, that's very akin to how we did the baseball stadium. And so all hope is not lost if we don't agree to this today, or the General Assembly does not move forward with this, because then the county can take it to the voters, or the city can take it to the voters and say, do you value this project? If so, here's what it's going to cost us to move it ahead. One of the things that we hear very often is, we don't want to directly tax our citizens. We like to kind of do it behind the scenes. And I just don't want this to be an example of that. And so I'll leave it at that. But thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And Council, I'll say this if I don't see any other hands. 100% of our constituents are also county residents, and we need to keep that in mind because the part that I think we're missing in this is that when people come into our community who don't live here and they buy something to eat, the county may collect the dollars, but it's for our constituents' benefit. And so if this unique tax goes away, it sunsets, as Mayor Pro Tem alluded to, because this was a unique special exception when it was done, those dollars will not benefit the people that we represent, which are all county residents. All of our constituents are county residents. And so I just want us to understand that it's not like we're losing anything, but for the first time in 70 years, we're actually getting a share of the revenues on the alcohol. Hotel, motel, food and beverage, all of those are separate taxes. And the part that concerns our bottom line, our general fund, is the alcohol revenue. So I just want to make sure that we're not mixing apples and oranges with the hotel discussion. That can be a discussion for another day at another time. But right now, what's on the table is, do we oppose, or would we like to see $6 million leave this community, or people come in, use our roads, our streets, our services, and have no benefit to our county residents and our city residents? And so, any other questions or concerns? If not, I'll look to Mayor Pro Tem. Do you show anyone that I'm missing?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I do have someone that would like to second the motion, though.
I didn't hear a motion to start with, so I'll need to get you to repeat that.
I'm sorry. Would you like to make the motion? Okay. So do we have a motion on the floor?
That's what I'm asking. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's a motion to approve this item.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Davis. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. I have Councilmember Kinston to second.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Davis. There's a second by Councilmember Kinston. Any further discussion on this? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. And Mayor Pro Tem, when you can, light up the chamber results for me. All right, and Council, it looks like in chambers, voting in favor, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, Councilman Hare, and Kinston. Voting in opposition in chambers was Councilman Dawkins. Then I'll go to Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Red.
Okay, Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Councilmember Banks, Councilmember Wright, I'm sorry.
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
Councilmember Kinston.
Green.
And Mayor Green. All right, motion carries 8-2. Those voting in favor, or those stated, those voting in opposed, Councilmember Dawkins and Waddell. Thank you, Councilmember Waddell. Item 7.0 is the public hearing. And I will attempt to read this. Apologize, Council. Individuals wishing to speak at tonight's public hearing should have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless a previous arrangement or single spokesperson is designated, in which that single spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name or recognizes you, asks that you please clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When you're notified, you'll be notified at 30 seconds remaining. And at the end of your allotted time, the time will ring and you'll be notified that your time is up. With that, I will go to a staff person who will be presenting this item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. My name is Hadley Joseph, City Planner here with the City of Fayetteville. And I'll be presenting to you, this case went to the Zoning Commission back in November of 2020. Staff recommended an approval for that case, and the commission also is recommended on approval. The applicant is Mr. Al-Saidi of Tire House, and the owner of the property currently is Mr. Chris Phillips of Rodies Inc. The request is to rezone a parcel currently zoned neighborhood, commercial, conditional zoning to limited commercial. The property is located at 1501 Pamely Drive, approximately 0.65 acres. It's located in District 4, and like I previously said, staff and the zoning commission is recommending on approval. Okay, so this is just an aerial view of the property. We could see it's located along Pamely Drive, where it intersects Helen Street and Kane Road. Currently, this aerial map doesn't really show exactly what currently exists, but where my cursor is pointing, currently there is a Dollar General store right here, and in the back is also somewhat of a kids play daycare right now currently. And this property right here, which is the property in the subject property, it is currently vacant, and this is where they are trying to reuse. It's an old gas station, reuse into a tire house, tire store. The property is currently zoned, like I said, neighborhood commercial with a conditional zoning. The condition, this site was rezoned back in, let me get that right. The property was rezoned back in 2015, and the conditions that was granted or attached to the conditional zoning was there was a particular site plan that they had to present. The hours of operation for them were supposed to be from Monday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and limited use of those allowed in the NC district, plus an added use of car audio sales, rims, tires. So they were limited as to what could have done on that site. So the current land use map calls for the area to be developed as a low density residential, and that type of zoning or use, can be described as mainly single family residential with some accessory dwellings, occasionally duplexes and townhomes. While the land use plan calls for that, the entire area is currently, mostly the entire intersection, apart from the southeastern part of the intersection, is already developed as commercial. So only, if we move back to the site plan, only this area here is currently not developed as commercial. And from some research that I did, the properties here are mainly vacant and scheduled for some sort of commercial development. So the entire area is already developed as commercial, and staff also recommended that if we go ahead and approve this, then there would be somewhat of an amendment to the land use map to take on, to maybe change the use of the current area. This is what the current, yes, sir. Okay. Okay, this is currently what the site looks like. This is the current building, which pretty much housed a little convenience store of a gas station that was previously there. There's an open parking area, and they already put up a sign to let people know that what's coming. Okay, just to mention just the surrounding properties. This is to the north. This is the children's daycare, which is pretty much to the back of the subject property. To the south, we have the Pamely Road with this little area of residential zoning, which is, like I said previously, it is vacant. To the east, we have the Dollar General store, and there's also another commercial business to the west. And across the intersection, this is another, like a somewhat of a business park area with multiple businesses located there as well. As mentioned, staff and the zoning commission is recommending an approval based on these points. The proposed zoning map amendment does not implement the policies adopted in the land use map and the UDO, but as previously mentioned, the area has been developed for commercial use. The proposed district type is intended to meet the diverse commercial needs of the city's residents by accommodating a wide variety of medium intensity non-residential uses that serve groups of neighborhoods instead of just an individual neighborhood. The use permitted by the proposed change in the zoning district classifications and the standards applicable to such use will be appropriate with the immediate area and the land to be reclaimed due to the existing zoning and uses surrounding the property, and there are no other factors that will substantially affect the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. Should this request be approved, staff recommends an amendment to the future land use map to correctly represent the zoning districts and uses in the area. And these are the options that we have before us today.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers on this item? And council will catch any questions that you may have after
Yes, sir.
we close the public hearing.
We have one speaker for this item. We have one speaker for this item, Mr. Omar Al-Saidi.
Okay. Mr. Al-Saidi, are you there? Mr. Al-Saidi, are you there? Jennifer, is he attempting to unmute?
He is there, sir. Hold on.
Mr. Al-Saidi, are you there, sir? Madam Clerk, is he on the line?
Yes, he's on the line and he's unmuted.
Mr. Al-Saidi, can you hear us? I think you're unmuted now. Can you speak into your phone? Is he on phone or Zoom with video?
Through the website.
Okay. Can you all communicate with him and see if he can hear us, or we have a bad connection? Or
Jennifer's texting him.
okay. Mr. Omar, can you hear us?
He said he can answer questions via chat if you would like. And I do have him currently communicating.
Is she getting a response, Madam Clerk?
So the speaker, Mr. Al-Saidi, has communicated with Jennifer. He can answer questions via chat on Zoom, but he's currently having audio difficulties. He
Okay,
can hear, but he can't speak.
okay, well, this is, it's gonna be hard to address because we don't know what his concerns are. Is he the property owner or is he just available for questions?
He did sign up in favor.
Okay,
He's the applicant.
He's the applicant, sir.
he's the applicant. Okay, all right, well, he's available for questions. Okay, all right, Councilman Wright.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I just have one concern in that I've seen tire shops around the city with an unkept appearance, with tires stacked up in several places. Is there code enforcement type of requirement that will allow the city to, check if that particular business seem to be getting out of hand with the tires and things of that nature? Just the appearance itself, because that's a nice area over there. It's a nice businesses all around. And when you talk tires, I'm just concerned what type of level of appearance that they will be keeping.
Okay. So, Mr. Councilman, Mr. Al-Saidi provided myself and the planning department with a few photos of some existing tire house stores. And it's currently on my screen, so I hope you could see. So this is pretty much what the outside looks like. So what the current building looks like right now, there's going to be some sort of a facelift to the exterior facade of the property to somewhat look exactly like that. And this is what it looks like at night if they're open. More of the outside photos of the store. And this is what it would look like on the inside. So maybe what would concern us the most is those exterior photos. And it's kind of good that they provided some both during the day and night. So I hope this helps with what the property might look like.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Councilman Wright. Councilman Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping that Mr. Asadi would be here tonight. Well, I know he's here, but we could have another way of communicating, because we spoke a couple of weeks ago that the purpose, my sole purpose for pulling this item for it to come back is just due that that is such a great community that I have that, well, that's on that corner in the intersection. And a lot of times in the past, before I knew exactly what this particular property was or the name of this property was, I only could go on what I see throughout the city. So I asked for this item to be pulled so that we could have it read into the minutes of the requirements, if that's something that can be done tonight, Ms. Attorney McDonald, so that we don't have any of those concerns. I had a great opportunity to go to a couple of locations. I went over at Santa Fe and Yakin. I saw that particular property. I know at one time that particular property that is now changed to the tire store used to be a cleaners, and if I'm not mistaken, that may be the one there at that intersection. So tonight, can we request, since he can't actually speak, can we request, still make it a part of the findings that that we don't see any any work tires left after business hours, that we don't see any repaired vehicles after business hours, things along that line? Is that something that could be read into the minutes and held for this applicant? Because they already knew what I wanted, because we spoke a few days ago, or at least a week or two ago. So he knew what I wanted.
So I guess, Ms. McDonald, guess Councilmember Harris is saying, could this be approved with requirements, kind of like we do on special use, but this is just rezoning. Can you kind of clarify that?
Correct, Mayor. This is a straight rezoning for which there would not be any conditions unless the applicant were inclined to agree to those conditions voluntarily.
And if I could also add, Mayor, that was the understanding that I thought I would be getting tonight. We should be good. We should be able to move forward. But sometimes he's there? Okay. Okay.
Oh, he's on the line?
That he does not keep any vehicles overnight.
Mr. Omar, can you hear us?
Service. And they do not keep any tires outside at any of the 3 other locations in the county.
Okay.
So according
while
to
he-
that statement, if I could, by that being stated, is that something that's read into the minutes?
You're talking to Attorney McDonald. I mean, it'll certainly be in the minutes with the, by the statement, but I think what she's saying is that this is a straight rezoning. So whether the council approves to change it or not, I don't know. But I guess, Mr. McDonald, his question is that if the parties agreed, is this something that could be embedded into the ordinance or into the motion?
No, sir. What I
Okay.
just understood was that he wanted that statement. It will be a part of the minutes and reflected in the minutes, but it is not a condition that would be incorporated into the rezoning.
And be held.
Okay.
Right. And Mayor Pro Tem, we've got a ton of cell phones in the room, so if someone could get Mr. Asadi, we could put him on the phone and put the phone in front of a microphone since Zoom is not working for him. We also have the star phone. I'm not sure if it's plugged in over here on this side, but if you would give us maybe 3 minutes to kind of get him on the line so that he can maybe answer those questions, if that works for Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, that works. And in the meantime, I guess I'll go to Councilmember Kinston unless she has a question for him, or it may be for staff. Councilmember Kinston?
Yes, Mayor, I did have a question. Thank you. And staff may be able to go ahead and answer this. One of the things that I was curious about is the traffic count was from 2018. I just wanted to know, was there a more recent one that was done, or why did it stop at 2018?
No, based on the county's website, the latest information that I obtained was from 2018.
Okay. And then the other question was on the letter count. You indicated that it was zoned pretty much for residential already, or for commercial already. My question is, who received those letters? Because there's 43 of them. If I can just get a clarity of
Property
that.
owners in the area 500 feet, is a 500-foot radius from the actual property of interest. So everybody who owns property in that area. So it's not, for example, if there's a house being rented and the owner of the house is somewhere else, that's the person who's gonna get that letter, not really the person who lives there renting the property, because they're not owning the property.
Did that answer your question, Councilmember Kinston?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. I think they're calling Mr. Omar Al-Sadi now.
You should be able to hear him now.
Mr. Omar, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. I apologize for that. We got new computers in the office, and I guess the microphones aren't working.
Well, same things happened to me tonight, so I totally understand. Would you like to say something? I know you were just there for questions. I did have a council member that had a question about the exterior. If there would be a commitment on your part, I won't speak for him. I'll go to Councilmember Harris. You want to ask Mr. Omar your question?
Yes, sir. Mr. Omar, so, and I didn't see it in the, I don't see it in the information packet as far as any form of a schematic or drawings or whatnot, but we're going to receive, or this location is going to receive somewhat the design of what we have now with tile mark at the intersection of Santa Fe and Yadkin. Is that correct? Is this the same style building?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And we have 3 other locations in the county that you can look at. Corner of Hope Mills in Cumberland and one in Spring Lake as well. And we try to maintain clean appearances all the time. We don't keep any cars overnight. We do basic maintenance work, so we try to get cars in and out pretty quickly. The tires, we don't store any outside. Everything is stored inside and disposed of, picked up same day. Any tires that are left behind. We do not sell used tires, only new tires, and most of the time we sell them to order. So we don't keep much inventory on hand.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Ms. McDonald, just one last question. Is it because it is a straight rezoning is the reason that we don't have a schematical design or blueprint design that went with this packet because it's just straight rezoning? And
Yes,
it's
sir.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Omar. All right, council, any other questions for Mr. Omar or for staff? All right, with that, I'll go to Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we approve item 7.01 rezoning request from neighborhood commercial condition zoning to limited commercial located at 1501 Pamela Drive.
All right, thank you, Councilman Hare, for that motion. Is Councilman Wright, were you seconding? Oh,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem, did I have everybody?
Mr. Mayor, I had, we had a second from Mr. Dawkins.
Okay, Dawkins press his light. Okay, so there's a motion by Councilman Wright, second by Councilman Dawkins. Any further discussion on the motion?
No.
All right, council, I'll look to you for your. I didn't hear you. Okay, council, I'll look to you for your votes on this item. Those in the chambers, if you could press your buttons for your lights.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, do we need to clarify that for the record that that was Councilmember Hare that said the motion and Councilmember Dawkins at second?
Yes.
That's what I have.
Okay. I just
We
wanna
also
make-
need to close the public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, with that, we'll close the public hearing, and then Councilman Hare, can you please repeat your motion?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I make the motion that we approve item 7.01 P20-46F.
Councilman Hare. All right, so there was a motion by Councilmember Hare, and there was a second by Councilmember Dawkins. And council, seeing no further discussion, I ask you for your votes. And those in the chamber, if you could vote with your lights, please. All right. So those in chambers voting in favor, Councilman Hare, Kinston, Jensen, and Dawkins. Go to Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Councilman Wright.
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
And Councilmember Kinston.
Green.
Okay. And Mayor Green. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, staff. Item 7.02, special use permit, single family zoning district. And with that, we will open the public hearing. Go to staff, member of staff for presentation.
Thank you,
Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council. Because this is a special use permit, we do need to swear in our speakers before we get started.
Mr. Mayor, our speakers for this item are Mr. Jonathan Charleston, Miss Laurie Epler, and Mr. Craig Williams. If you could please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the statements contained in this writing are the truth and the testimony you are about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The case we have before you tonight is a special use permit. It's in a single-family 6 district to allow multifamily. This is on Bluffside Drive. It's a little over 6 acres. This is in District 2. And as we go to our, well, sorry about that. As we go to our first slide in the presentation, just to kind of give you an idea of where we are, we do have the Cape Fear River, 301 crossing the river here, Dunn and Middle Roads over here. And so we have mostly a single-family neighborhood with this area on the backside that was originally approved for multifamily. And as you can see, they actually already right here have built some of the multifamily. That multifamily was built prior to the UDO. Unfortunately, it's been so many years since they started the project and the UDO coming into effect. The UDO did take away their rights for the multifamily that they already had approved in this area. And so basically what they're coming to you this evening is just to regain rights that they originally had on this property. As you can see, the property is zoned single family 6. Again, you can kind of see right here the existing multifamily. Our land use plan calls for medium density residential throughout this area. Currently, it's just basically a flat vacant field out there. Again, it's been prepped for a number of years in anticipation of the multifamily they were originally approved for. Surrounding the property, this is to the south, the multifamily that is already there. Across the street is the clubhouse, swimming pool, kind of the amenities area for this development. And then here to the east is just kind of a standard of some of the housing you'll see, some of the single family housing that's in the neighborhood as well. This is the proposed layout. You're looking to do a series of 5-unit and 8-unit buildings. And so you kind of have a 5-8, 5-8 rolling along there. And then again, just to orient you, this is the river back here, and this is River Bluff right here in the tennis courts and clubhouse across the street here. And just a little different view of the same thing, just to show you where they're proposing. These are the existing multifamily here, and so they're just adding back what they were originally approved for. And these I'll go through these fairly quickly. This just shows you kind of the layout of the 5-unit condominiums and then the 8-unit condominiums. Zoning Commission and Planning staff have recommended approval. The original development plans were approved with a combination of single-family and multifamily structures, some of which have already been constructed. The purpose of the SUP implements policies adopted in the UDO and the 2040 Future Land Use Plan. Development of this use is allowed in the single-family 6 and should not detract from the overall area. The proposed SUP, we felt, ensures that new development is compatible with the current zoning, the UDO, and the growth pattern of that area. The site plan, the attached site plan, the evidence provided by the developer, and the conditions recommended in your packet. And we didn't see any further factors that we felt would substantially affect public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. If you would hold any questions you have for staff until you've concluded your public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon. With that, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, who's your first speaker?
Mayor, our first speaker is Mr. Jonathan Charleston.
Attorney Charleston. Please state your name and your address.
Yes, Jonathan Charleston, 201 Hay Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I am here on behalf of the property owner in this case. I think that Mr. Harmon very appropriately articulated what the issue is this evening. This project, prior to the UDO, allowed for the development that was in accordance with the plans that had been submitted. And so, you know, in this particular case, the owner is not asking for anything from City Council other than what the owner had prior to the council's adoption of the UDO ordinance. And so what I will say is, very quickly, is that every property owner has the right to develop their property to the highest and best use. There's no clearer example of that than what you see before you tonight. Through no fault of the property owner, the property has been restricted in terms of the original plan that was approved by this council. And what I will say just very briefly is that the property, as Mr. Harmon indicated, is zoned SF6, which allows for the development of multifamily condominium developments through the special use permit process. So what was in the original plan and what we were asking the council to authorize through a special use permit tonight is exactly what the SF6 category allows for. Again, the project is a condominium development which is allowed in the district. I might also add that the surrounding areas are zoned for single-family use and multifamily development with an approved special use permit, again. And the conditions that the owner placed in its application have been found to be acceptable. We hope that and request specifically that the city, if it's so inclined to allow this special use permit, that the conditions that were set forth in the application be allowed. Now, the other thing that I would ask for the record, this is more of an issue for the city attorney. We just want to make for the record that the application and all of the exhibits and the staff report be, and the minutes of the zoning commission meetings be admitted into evidence for purposes of this hearing.
That would be for the mayor to accept that, Mr. Charleston.
All right, so Mr. Charleston, your request is to have the minutes admitted as well as the other documents as a part of this as evidence. So we'll accept that.
Mr. Mayor, the minutes and the matters that came before the zoning commission and the staff report that's addressed to the mayor and members of city council be admitted into evidence.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, and Mr. Mayor, at this time, we're going to ask Ms. Lori Epler to come forward, and we're going to speak specifically to the 8 factors that are required to be found in order for the special use permit to be approved.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Have we had occasion to review those items before we accept them as a part of the record?
Well, I think what it is they'll be turned into the clerk. And Madam Attorney, how do we normally handle evidence that's submitted during a special use permit?
Asking for the information that was in the packet to be entered into the record.
Right, these are the city's own documents.
Okay.
Right, but are those documents, I'm looking in the CAM right now, and I'm trying to make sure that those particular documents were included in, and I'm just going back through trying to ensure that that's the case. So can we verify that that's the case? Because I'm looking, and I, on my own accord, cannot verify that. I see the zoning map, the land use map, the subject property, surrounding property, SUP site plan revised, River Bluff site map, River Bluff condominium layout, River Bluff 8 condominium layout application and legislation text.
Mr. Mayor, I think this information is all on the city's website as part of your package.
Okay, I think we're talking 2 different things. I think one is the CAM that was prepared by staff to prepare us for the case tonight. 2 is what you're saying, Ms. Charleston, is something that you're asking to be included in the evidence, but you're saying it's already in the possession of the city.
Right.
So Councilman Waddell.
It's the city's documents, Mr. Mayor. It's
right.
Not,
yeah.
It's not
I
our
understand.
documents.
So Councilmember Waddell, do you have a particular question about that, or you just?
Well, I have a concern about it. My concern is if we're required to make a decision based upon the evidence that we've received, many of us, well, I'll speak for me. I have prepared for this particular item based upon the information that has been uploaded into the CAM. And so if I'm being asked to admit something as evidence, I think that it would be prudent for us to make sure that we've at least had an opportunity or an occasion as a part of our preparation to review that. So that's my concern, but I'll leave that at the will of the council if that's how we decide to move forward.
Well, I think what's being said is that in the CAM is the background that this was approved at an earlier time, and anything that the city approved, I'm sure, is within our purview to get it. You're just saying it wasn't attached to what you prepared for, but
well, Mr.
it's in the city's possession, right?
Most specifically, what I'm saying is we're asked to make a decision as if we are deliberating information. And so if this, let's just say this goes left and ends up somewhere else, once we've included information as a part of the record and said that we'll include it, then that's as if we're saying we've reviewed that information. And I have not. And so I'm not prepared to do that. And Attorney McDonald, if I'm interpreting this incorrectly, please do correct me, because I'm not a lawyer, but I know that I would never agree to, just on my own accord, I would never agree to a document being included that I had not reviewed, because that's like me saying I have.
Well, I think what I'm getting at is that when they submit something as a part of the evidence, you can consider it for your decision, or you don't have to consider it as a part of your decision. But what we'll do is let me.
How do we do that if we haven't reviewed it?
Mr. Mayor.
Have you, I don't know, am I the only one who has not reviewed? I'm not trying to be difficult. I just want to make sure that we're not.
Madam Attorney, what are you saying, Madam Attorney?
Mr. Freeman is standing at the podium waiting to respond as to what is in the packet.
Horace Freeman, Planning Zoning Division Manager. Commissioner Waddell, all the information that the applicant has submitted is included in your packet. During the zoning commission meetings, those are not evidentiary hearing meetings. Those are just public hearings. And so therefore at the city council, that's when you all receive testimony from the applicant involving the 8 findings of facts.
So what I'm asking specifically is, what is Attorney Charleston asking to be included, and where is it in our, to show me that item in our CAM so that I can line it up, because I'm listening and I'm looking at the CAM and it's not lining up for me, but I'm open to being assisted in this.
Want me to speak to it? Thank you, Councilwoman Waddell. There is a memo that says to the mayor and members of the city council through Doug Hewitt from Craig Harmon, dated January 25th, 2001, RE P20-47F. It has in it a relationship to the strategic plan, the executive summary, so forth and so on. And later in our presentation, we're going to give specific reasons as to why the 8 findings are satisfied. But we wanted this to be admitted as part of our materials.
And also to add, within the application itself, they have criteria points, the questions, which are all 8 of these findings of facts. They have to answer those questions, include that as part of the record. So they have completed their application and submitted that information that you have in your CCAM.
I understand that, but the document that he just referenced, where is that in our CAM? I'm tracking all of that, but where is that?
The only thing that's not in your, before you, I think, are the minutes from the zoning commission, and I just wanted that to be included in the materials that came before the city council, which had the arguments in favor and against the proceedings. It was passed unanimously by the zoning commission, and I just wanted that information before city council. Everything else is in the package.
All right, we still have Ms. Epler there to speak. Councilmember Waddell, we'll entertain councilmember questions. I see Councilmember Ingram has a question. We'll go to that. Let us close the public hearing, and then we'll ask whatever questions we need.
Mr. Mayor, let's keep the public hearing open and allow Mr. Charleston to present his evidence.
Okay. All right, did I hear him say that there was another speaker at the podium?
Yes, we have 3 speakers total for this item.
All right, so did I hear Ms. Epler's name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Epler, you can go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. There are 8 findings of fact, and we established those findings in our application. Staff has also agreed with all 8 of those findings. The first being that the special use complies with all applicable standards and the use-specific standards. The proposed use meets the applicable standards. There are no use-specific standards for multifamily development consisting of condominiums. This special use is compatible with the character of surrounding lands. There is a residential community, and this plan keeps the feel of the mix of residential uses that are already present. There will be no commercial activities. The proposed condominiums will fill in the remaining undeveloped multifamily area of this subdivision. The special use avoids significant adverse impact on surrounding lands regarding service delivery, parking, loading, odors, noise, glare, and vibration. The proposed site plan would ensure that the project would avoid significant adverse impact on surrounding lands regarding service delivery, parking, loading, odors, noise, glare, and vibration. These condominiums should bring no adverse impact to the community. The use is residential and in keeping with the residential neighborhood. Noises should only include those of cars, families with kids, and normal day-to-day home activity. Individual trash cans will be provided for each family, so there will not be any additional noise from dumpster pickup. There will be no deliveries, loading, noise, glare, or vibrations associated with everyday family activities. The special use is configured to minimize adverse effects, including visual impacts of the proposed use on adjacent lands. The proposed site plan would ensure that the project would minimize adverse effects, including visual impacts of the proposed use on adjacent lands. The new buildings include all required design standards. Parking has been located to provide access to the front entrances. The special use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitat, scenic resources, and other natural resources. The proposed site plan would ensure that the project would avoid significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitat. The special use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitat, and other natural resources by using land previously approved for development. It maximizes the use of space by increasing the number of units per acre. Special use maintains safe ingress and egress into the site and safe road conditions. The property is located on a local drive with ingress and egress as shown on the attached site plan. The driveway into this site is like those at other sites within this neighborhood. Due to the low amount of traffic which uses this road, ingress and egress from this site should not impede traffic flow. The special use allows for the protection of property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop the uses permitted in the zoning district. There's been no evidence presented that property values and the ability of neighboring lands to develop would negatively be impacted. Multifamily townhomes or condominiums were part of the original site plan for this subdivision. Similar multifamily units are already built and occupied in this neighborhood. The special use complies with all other relevant city, state, and federal laws and regulations. The applicant will be required to meet all applicable standards.
Thank you, Ms. Epler. Attorney Charleston, would you like to present whatever evidence you were looking to enter into the record?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just want to make a couple of points. The city has already approved this once. And when the UDO was adopted, for those of you, many of you worked on the various revisions to the UDO, it was anticipated that there would have to be adjustments made along the way because certain zoning classifications didn't fit neatly with the prior zoning classification. So this is not something that the city has not seen before. I will say that in this case, the owners have, they have expended considerable resources on a development that has already been approved by the city. So the appropriate thing in circumstances like this is for the city to approve the request to make an adjustment to make this project align with the new zoning classifications adopted by the city, and that the city should not under any circumstances really take action to restrict the property owner's use when that property owner has relied upon official action of the city in the first place in developing the project. This project just hadn't been completed, and we're in the process of doing that. Now, Mr. Mayor, what requested to be admitted into evidence, of course, is the application of the owner, including all exhibits, schematics, and renderings that were attached to the application. And two, what I would like to have admitted into evidence is the memorandum from Craig Harmon dated January 25th of 2021. The only thing that's not in the package, Mr. Mayor, that we asked be admitted into evidence are the minutes from the Zoning Commission meeting. And we're available to answer any questions that any member of City Council has. Thank you.
Mr. Charleston, given that this is an evidentiary hearing for which the decision should be made on the application and the testimony that is presented this evening, would you consider withdrawing your request as it relates to the minutes from the Zoning Commission meeting?
Madam City Attorney, if the City Council is not considering the action taken by the Zoning Commission, then of course we would consider that. But I thought that the entire package, including the actions taken by the Zoning Commission, are taken into consideration, but not determinative of what action the City Council has to take. But it is considered the entire package, so I would ask that it be included in evidence.
All right. Madam Clerk, are there any other speakers?
Yes, sir. We have one more speaker, Mr. Craig Williams.
Okay. Mr. Williams, how are you?
Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. I am here not for this special use case permit, but I'm here for the special use case permit P20-51F.
So that's not this case?
No.
Okay, this is for testimony related to this item, okay? So if you could just hang around until we get to the item that you're here concerning. Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
No, sir, we have no further speakers.
All right, so Councilman, I'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Ingram, I
Mr.
see your
Mayor,
hand.
Mr. Mayor.
Ma'am?
Perhaps we should keep the public hearing open in case there is additional testimony related to questions that the council members may have of either the applicant or the staff.
Okay. All right, well, we'll keep the public hearing open. Councilmember Ingram?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I apologize, but is there any way that we can take a 5-minute break? Is that possible? Because we have been here since 6 o'clock and we have been going steady, the ones here at the chambers. So is there any way we could have a 5-minute break?
I wanted to kind of bring some resolution to this item, and I had planned to break. I understand, but if
all right, thank you.
If you need to take a break, you can do it. If the council can hold out just so we can dispose of this item, then we'll take a few minutes break. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just one question, and once the hearing is closed, I'll be prepared to make a motion on this item. The only question I had, and I do understand that there are townhomes currently in the area, just in a historical preface of a question, can someone express to me a possibility of flooding in that area and what that has been like, if we have that information?
Mr. Mayor, this is Jonathan Charleston again, Miss Councilwoman Ingram. There's not been any flooding in this area, and this development is outside the flood zone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, as I said earlier, if there are no further questions.
Well, I'll come. Yes, ma'am. I'll come back to you. Let me close the public hearing. I'll have 2 more hands, and I'll circle back to you when it's time for that. Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to maybe give a little continual insight of what was stated earlier. Throughout the years before the UDO was brought into place, as it was stated tonight by members of the applicants, when the UDO came in, there were adjustments that had to be done to the existing zoning. So when the UDO came in, there was a little changes that may have taken place. And in the past, we have had to sort of bring properties into alliance or to somewhat try to help to comply to the new UDO. So I'm very much familiar with what we are doing tonight.
Thank you, Councilman Hare. Councilmember Kinston.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to verify a couple of different things. One, with the pictures that were provided, is any of those pictures the current townhome that's there?
Yes. The ones here in the upper left-hand corner, that is the existing multifamily out there.
All right, and then the other question that I had is the location of the mailboxes and the trash cans. How are the mailboxes attached to the condominiums as they are on the townhomes now, or where would the position of that be based on the design?
We currently have plans for mailbox kiosks, which the Postal Service makes us do. Those kiosks will be located in places where they'll be convenient to the homeowners, but they will not be in the way of traffic or on anyone else's property. Each building will have its own kiosk with several boxes, just like an apartment building would.
Okay.
And as far as trash cans, each unit will have its own roll-out trash can. Those trash cans will be rolled out on trash day, and they'll be rolled back behind the fences or out of sight at other times.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Councilmember Waddell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to go back to the question that Councilmember Ingram asked about the flooding. Can a member of our staff come up to the podium? And I know when we had to do evacuations, we were looking at properties within a mile of the river at one point. And so my question is, how far is this from the river? And are we certain that there's no issue with flooding? Because what I don't want us to do is to get into a situation where we've got problems and we did not completely vet that aspect, because we know that river. So any member of our staff, if you can just very quickly address those two questions. How far is this property from the river, and has there been any flooding, and do we anticipate that this, once those floodplain maps are redrawn, that this may or may not fall within what's being proposed?
While I'm not an expert at flood information, it is outside of the flood area currently. The property does back up to the Cape Fear River. However, this is on a high side of the Cape Fear, and so it's kind of a little bluff area that entails the name of the drive there, Bluffside Drive. And so this is the high property side of the river, and so it is not as vulnerable to floods as a lot of the other areas are.
Okay, and so okay, I'll go with that. Thank you.
All right. Council, any other questions before we close the public hearing and I go to Councilmember Ingram?
I have Councilmember Kinston.
Oh, Councilmember Kinston.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to piggyback on Councilmember Waddell's question. Can you pull the picture back up of the property? Mr. Harmon, thank you. The blue areas that are behind the condominium, are those retention ponds or what?
You would have the applicant would have to better look at what those are, but as you look at this one, it does have those as probable biotension basins. And if you want a better explanation of that, I'm sure Ms. Epler can explain what they're looking to do with bioretention.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, Councilwoman Kinston. We have to handle the rainfall that comes off of the rooftop for those buildings. Those bioretention basins, they will not be wet ponds. They are areas that have a sand filter in the bottom of them. When that white rainwater comes off those rooftops, it'll go into those areas, quickly go down into that sand, be taken back underground. They'll be landscaped. They're not like a wet pond, but that is where our stormwater will go from the rooftops.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Kinston. With that, we'll close the public hearing. Council, before I go to Councilmember Ingram, just like to remind you that this is a special use permit, and there are 8 findings that are enclosed in our packet, is what we have to consider doing this, as well as the testimony that we've heard tonight. So with that, I'll go to Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve a special use permit in a single-family SF6 zoning district for condominiums as presented by staff, based on the standards of the city's development code and the evidence presented during tonight's hearing.
Second.
Uh, and that the application, thank you, Councilmember Wright, the application is consistent with the applicable plans because one, the city's Unified Development Ordinance supports multifamily use development in the SF6 district, and does the future 2020 future land use plan and map. Two, the uses surrounding this property are a mix of residential uses which are compatible with the proposed zoning. And three, the proposed zoning is reasonable and in the public interest because the proposed zoning fits the character of the overall area, and includes and meets all 8 findings of fact.
Thank you, Councilwoman Ingram, for that motion to approve as stated. There's a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Those in chambers, please use lights, and then I'll get a verbal from those who are remote. In chambers, we have voting to approve Councilman Hare, Kinston, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, and Dawkins. Councilwoman Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
Councilmember Kinston,
Green.
Mayor Green. All right, motion carries unanimous. With that, we'll take a 10-minute break. Guys, we'll be back in 10 minutes to continue with item 7.03.
Okay, I think we are live and getting ready to start again.
Okay. All right. All right, council. Moving to item 7.04. Go to member staff for this item.
Banner Elk Drive in District 7. The property is approximately 6 acres. The application was submitted by Scott Brown of 4D Site Solution on behalf of Moeller Investment LLC. Staff and the Zoning Commission have recommended approval of this project. This is an aerial map of the subject property. The property is located just to the west of, to the east of 71st School Road and to the west of Bunce Road, just south of Old Bunce Road, and to the north of the Glenbrook subdivision. According to the zoning map, this area is predominantly zoned SF6 with the Glenbrook subdivision to the south zoned as SF10. The future land use map calls for this area to be developed as medium density residential. Medium density residential is defined as being predominantly single-family residential with duplexes and townhomes or low-rise apartments. The subject property is currently, for the most part, is vacant. There is one home that is located on the site, but as you can see, the home is in ill repair and is not being utilized. This site is a former mobile home park, and the applicant is proposing to do a 48-unit townhome community. To the north of the property is Quail Hollow No. 2 Mobile Home Park. To the south is Glenbrook Residential Subdivision. To the east is another abandoned single-family residential home. And to the west is the Lewis Chapel Missionary Baptist Church. As you can see from the site plan, the applicant is proposing 48 units, but according to the zoning and to the lot size, they have the potential of doing 56 units, but are limiting themselves to 48 units. The site plan identifies that the roads will be private roads that will be maintained by the homeowners association. The Zoning Commission and planning staff are recommending approval of the proposed SUP based on the following. The proposed SUP implements the policies adopted in the Unified Development Ordinance. The development of this use is allowed in a single-family residential zoning district and will not detract from the overall area. The proposed SUP ensures that new development is compatible with the current zoning, the UDO, and the overall growth pattern of the area. The utilization of an existing previously developed site is in the best nature for the city, and there are no other factors which will substantially affect the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare. Staff is available for any questions once the public hearing is open. Mr. Scott Brown is also in the audience, ready to answer any questions that may arise from City Council.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baptiste. Madam Clerk, do you have any speakers you need to swear in?
Yes, sir. I have two speakers, Mr. Scott Brown and Mr. Craig Williams. Gentlemen, if you would both please stand and raise your right hand, and staff also. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, call your first speaker, please.
Yes, sir. Our first speaker is Mr. Scott Brown.
Mr. Brown, how are you? I can't hear him. We have a.
I think it's on now.
Okay, yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Scott Brown, 409 Chicago Drive, Suite 112, Fayetteville. Fellow council members, I appreciate the opportunity for y'all to hear this case tonight. As Ms. Baptiste mentioned, it has gone before zoning commission, and we got a unanimous recommendation. I'd like to, she's done a pretty good job of going through it, so there's no need in me repeating everything that she's already repeated. I'd like to go through the justification items, and then if anybody's got any questions at the end, be glad to answer any questions that they may have towards the end. First one, indicate how the special use complies with all applicable use specific standards of city ordinances. The SUP will follow the EDO as well as all local, state, and federal requirements. We have submitted through the TRC as well as through engineering. PwC, all the submittals have been made. We're working our way through that process now. So it will, we will comply with all the local requirements that the UDO has. Describe how the special use is compatible with the character and uses permitted in the zoning district. Multifamily is a permitted use in SF6 zoning, but does require an SUP. As Ms. Baptiste mentioned, this was a previous mobile home park, so this will be an upgrade to the existing area as for the neighborhood, as opposed to what the existing use was and kind of dilapidated and some old structures remaining in there now. Indicate how the special use avoids significant adverse impact on surrounding lands regarding delivery, parking, etc. The 56 units are allowed. We're only proposing 48 units, so we're leaving 8 units on the table. We're not maximizing the density for the property. The proposed use is residential multifamily, which is in harmony with the property to the south and across the streets. No significant negative impact is anticipated from the proposed development. Demonstrate how the special use is configured to minimize adverse effects, including visual impacts of the proposed use on adjacent lands. The project will be in compliance with the UDO for buffering and screening. Development will be a gated community and will be an asset to the neighborhood. Development is 8 units short of the maximum density. Explain how the special use avoids significant deterioration of water and air resources, wildlife habitat, scenic resources, natural resources. The project will connect the public water and sewer for PwC. Storm pond is proposed in accordance with the city's stormwater ordinance that will treat the runoff from the property. There are wetlands on site, but any impacts will be minimal and will be permitted by the U.S. Army Corps engineers. That might be a small impact with the road crossing going through it. To be limited, the disturbance will be limited to only what's required to construct the project. Indicate how the special use maintains safe ingress and egress onto the site as well as safe road conditions around the site. The driveway access will be coordinated through DOT and through Fayetteville traffic. Road improvements are not anticipated at this time based on the current traffic counts along Old Bunce Road. It has been submitted to city traffic and we're waiting pending approval of the SUP before it be submitted to DOT. Demonstrate how the special use allows for protection of property values and ability of neighboring lands to develop uses permitted in the zoning district. The development will not restrict or limit development of the adjoining parcels. The project is residential and will be located in an existing residential neighborhood. The project should not have any negative impacts on any surrounding property values. The special use complies with all other relevant state, federal, and laws and regulations. Development will comply with the UDO as well as local, state, and federal laws. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we've already submitted the plans for for permitting, and we're working our way through that process now, and this is just one of the processes we have to go through, and I just ask you tonight to follow the recommendation of staff and the zoning commission and the grant approval of this SUP so we can continue moving forward with the project. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have of me at this time or later.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Yeah, we'll get the questions for you a little later. We want to give the other speaker opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Craig Williams.
Hello, Mr. Williams.
Yes, good afternoon. Good evening, Mayor and Councilman. I had 4 questions. However, Mr. Brown and the lady that preceded him has answered most of them. However, the one question that I have left, he kind of briefly stated on, and he was stating about the road traffic. Old Bunch Road is a dual 2-lane road, and which is about a half mile long. He said that there was not a very much impact or traffic on there, but if you're going to add 48 units, I'm assuming each one you average out of the house, that's about an average of 2 people per, and possibly a child. That area is within a mile and a half from a middle school, high school, and an elementary, which will increase the foot traffic along that road. Presently, Old Bunch Road is not conducive to foot traffic for kids. If this is going to be allowed to be built, and I'm not against it, I would suggest or like the city to see about putting sidewalks there so the kids could walk along that road to go to school, and as well as the ingress and egress out of the area in which Mr. Brown is referring to the townhome area. With those increase of number of people and homes, are going to increase the number of cars that are on the road. And I don't know if anyone has been on Old Bunch Road in the evening at 5 o'clock, between 5 and 7:30. You can't get out if you're trying to connect to Old Bunch to Bunch Road. And then on the opposite end, there's 71st Road, and the same traffic from Cliffdale is coming from the base over, cutting through, going to Rayford Road. So is it possible that we could possibly get that looked into about sidewalk and road widening project and traffic control, because it's going to need a stoplight at least on one end of the Bunch Road, either Old Bunch Road and Bunch Road itself, or 71st Road and Old Bunch Road. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
May we have no further speakers?
Okay, council, do we have any questions for either of those 2 gentlemen or staff?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for staff based on the comments of the last gentleman. There were some plans a few years ago with the widening of Bunch Road. Where are we with that? And is that widening going to include sidewalks?
That is not a question that the planning department would be able to answer. That would have to be addressed with traffic services. I know that they have several project plans that they have on their books, but I don't know what's the status of Bunch Road in those books, on those plans.
Well, I need someone to answer those questions for me, because when we talk about the impact of this project, we're talking about the safety of citizens on Bunch Road in that immediate community. There's a lot of traffic coming off of Bingham, doing in after business hours. And so we're really going to have an impact of more traffic there on Bunch Road in that immediate area. So I'm concerned about that. And I know there were some plans to widen Bunch Road, and we saw the plans a couple of years ago, but I'm vaguely can remember whether sidewalks were going to be a part of that plan or not. City Manager?
Well, this subject property is actually off of Old Bunce Road, not Bunce Road. And I think as the applicant, Mr. Brown, also said, that some of these issues would get worked out as part of the TRC. But you are right, and he could address maybe that better and to provide that testimony than staff at this point.
Is he available?
Yes, I'm back at the mic.
Okay.
As Mr. Hewitt mentioned, the project is along Old Bunce Road and not actually Bunce Road. And based on the current ADT, that's the average daily traffic count along Old Bunce Road, no road improvements are warranted. Again, that final decision lies between city traffic and DOT, and there's no indication from Fayetteville Traffic Services at this point that there'll be anything more than a driveway connection to it. Now, we are putting sidewalks along the frontage of Old Bunce Road for our site as the UDO requires, but I can't speak to what sidewalk will exist to the north and south, if there's any projects in place. If there are, I'm not aware of anything being planned.
Mr. Manager, I know sidewalks are coming down. Well, that won't affect that area anyway. So yeah, I understand. So we're looking at Old Bunch Road, and I'm very familiar with that area.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So coming out of the project, of the said building project, do we plan on putting a light there?
Not as far as this project is concerned, unless DOT or somebody else comes back and requires it. But I don't think, based on the amount of traffic from 48 townhomes, a traffic signal will be warranted, and I don't anticipate any such requirements coming from DOT at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Councilman Wright. Council, I see no other questions, so with that, I will close the public hearing.
Wait. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't have lights on. Councilmember Dawkins and Councilmember Hare.
Okay, Councilman Dawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Brown, is there going to be a homeowners association with these 48 units? Because I notice it's a private drive. I got big concerns with that. So is there going to be an HOA? And that's...
There will be a property owners association, yes, sir.
Okay, so why do you have a private street and not a public street?
It's a gated community, and you cannot have a gated community on a public street.
Right.
And it would be more or less a driveway, almost like you would on any other townhome project, a gated community townhome project where you got parking directly off of the street versus a true right-of-way and all coming through there. It's more or less like a private drive.
Got it. A couple more questions.
Yes,
One,
sir.
I'm concerned about garbage, and I know that the association has to contract with a private hauler.
Correct.
So they're aware of that. So you said correct. So they're obviously aware of that, because the situation, council, is we won't be able to get our big trucks in there that have the mechanical arms on them. So they'll have to contract with a private hauler. So if the homeowner association goes broke, then, the city will have to get involved. Just be aware of that. And then lastly, Mr. Brown, retention pond. Ms. Baptiste had a diagram. It appeared to be a pond, Ms. Baptiste. Yes, over on that right side lower, is that a retention pond?
Yes, sir, it's a wet pond.
Okay, so you've got the slopes all designed to feed that pond, I'm assuming. Is that a good assumption?
That is correct assumption,
Great.
yes, sir.
Very good. Glad that, number one, we're not going to go with the maximum number of units, and glad we've got a nice big retention pond.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Thank you, Ms. Baptiste. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman Dawkins. Councilman Hare.
Thanks, Mayor. As I look at this diagram and wanting to support Councilmember Wright and his thoughts, and then the gentleman that just spoke. Now, on one end, that one end is a cul-de-sac.
Yes, sir.
Is that? Oh.
That's correct. Yes,
Right.
sir.
Okay, one is, so the end that's going into the traffic, that is the old Bunts Road end.
Correct.
And there is, you say the 48 townhomes or the 48 properties do not require a signal.
Correct.
Would there be maybe some form of a flashing light, a caution light or something? Because I'm not as familiar as others, and maybe the gentleman that just spoke, but I'm somewhat familiar with Old Bunts Road, and it can get a little crowded.
Right.
So what's going to be the support? And also, I want to stay on this diagram, so I didn't want to switch over, but is there going to be a right egress in, left, turning lane in on both sides?
Yes,
coming
sir.
in?
I understand what you're asking for there, and Old Bunts Road is a DOT street. It's in the
Right.
city of Fayetteville, so
Right.
both parties have to agree to it. But that would be DOT's call in the end, is whether any improvements are required. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, whenever we're designing streets, or not designing streets, but designing connection to streets, we have to look at the traffic count on that street. We look at the latest traffic count. And anything over 4,000 trips a day, you're looking at road improvements. Old Bunts Road has not reached that level, and based on the last traffic count, but that does not take away the fact that the district engineer could require it. At this point in time, based on initial conversations, no caution light or left or right turn lane is anticipated. That's not saying one's not going to be required. It's just not one's anticipated at this point where we're at in the process.
So when you're at a meeting like this,
Yes, sir.
and you hear the concerns of the representative, you hear the concerns of the other council members, you hear the concerns of, I guess, the citizen that lives close by.
Yes, sir.
What's done with that? Is it just open at the meeting and dies at the meeting? Does it ever get back to those?
Well, yes, sir. It gets back, and
For improvement?
we discuss it internally, and as well as this, city traffic will be aware of it, because we don't have a driveway permit through city traffic yet, and it'll be made aware to DOT as well as the concerns that is brought up. But again, it'll be their decision. I mean, if it was up to the individual to put traffic lights in, there'd be a lot more traffic lights than there were. But DOT's got a signal warrant process, is what justifies the use of a traffic light. And the same thing with left and right turn lanes.
Or a caution light?
Yes, or a caution light, right. That's their call, and they got a whole traffic services branch that reviews that and looks at traffic accidents and trip movements back and forth. But again, we're still early in the process. Those plans have been submitted and are currently under review, but there's no indication at this point in time now that anything's going to be above and beyond what you're seeing on that sketch.
Just wanted to let it be read into the minutes that I support the concerns that I'm hearing tonight. I also support the concerns of Councilmember Wright. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Hare.
And we have Councilmember Kinston.
Okay, Councilmember Kinston.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple concerns, being that this is Valken land, and with 71st School, my concern is when the count was done, do you happen to know what time of the year was that? Because frequently traveling that road,
Yes.
I know for a fact that it's dark on that road. So if there are sidewalks as well, I would be concerned with people walking back and forth home
Yes, ma'am.
after the games. Also, coming off of Old Bunts Road, turning onto School Road, on a good football night, that road is backed up already. So I would definitely, I support it, but my concern would be, having that conversation with NCDOT, you know, making sure that there is some caution lights or something there, you know, coming into the intersection of those two roads.
Right, and I'm not aware of what time of the year. The only thing that we're provided is the actual year. It could be anywhere from January 1 to December 31, whether it's in the summer or whether it's in the fall of the year when football is being played. I have no idea when those traffic counts were taken. They just give us the year on it. But I would like to mention also that, like I said, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, or Ms. Baptiste mentioned, this was a mobile home park. Now, I don't have any way of knowing now based on aerial photographs. I mean, it's pretty dilapidated. It's probably been wore down for years, but I would imagine that probably don't have any more units proposed than what there used to be trailers on that thing at one time. But either way, I hear your concern, and we will bring that. We'll address that with DOT at the time whenever they're reviewing it, as well as traffic services, and see if they have any more insight than what we have. Short of doing a traffic impact analysis to get an actual true count on what it would be today at a certain time period. And again, this level of project does not trigger the TIA based on the UDO guidelines.
And thank you. I don't want to give my age, but I do remember when the trailer park was there.
Yeah, you know, I have no idea
what
how
the
many
traffic looked like. So
Yes,
that would be my concern. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Falcon, you're telling on your age over there. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Brown? I think I see.
Yeah, my hand is.
Yeah, I see you. Councilman Wright, I'm coming to you. Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Brown, affordable housing, what is the percentage, if any, of affordable housing that's going to go along with those 48 units? Or is that anything that you guys considered, and what type of residents would those be?
Can you repeat that again, Councilman, what the question is?
Yeah, do you have a percentage of affordable housing that's going to be a part of these townhouse units?
No, and these will be mostly, I mean, since they're townhomes, they'll be able to be rent or for sale, and it's my understanding most of them are probably going to end up being for rent, but I really can't answer the question as far as the affordable housing. I don't know what the rents would be or anything of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Mayor, if there's no more questions, I'd like to make a motion.
Let me close the public hearing, Councilman Wright, and I'll come right to you, okay? All right. So, Council, I think I don't see any other questions or comments. So with that, we'll close the public hearing, and I'll go to Councilman Wright.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we grant approval of this request of the 48 townhouse homes according to the staff recommendations and the meeting of all 8 facts.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Wright. It looks like a second. Or Councilmember Banks, is that a second that you're raising your hand for?
Yes, that's a second.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Wright. There's a second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Any discussion on the Wright McLaughlin motion? All right, seeing none, we'll look to you for your votes. Those in chambers, please use the lights. All right, those who are in chambers, Councilman Hare, Green, Councilmember Kinston, Green, Dawkins, Green, and Mayor Pro Tem Jensen. Councilmember Ingram.
Green.
Councilmember Waddell.
Green.
Councilmember Davis.
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
Councilmember Kinston.
Green.
Councilman Wright.
Green.
And Mayor Green. So motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor,
right.
Councilmember Kinston has voted twice for the past 3 times.
I was going with the flow, Mayor.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Councilmember Kinston, you're double, triple voting, huh? I got you. All right, so we'll move to item 7.04, stormwater variance request. That I'll go to staff for this item.
All right, who's ready to talk stormwater? All right, I'm Byron Reeves. I'm the stormwater manager for the city. Tonight, I'm bringing before you a stormwater variance request. Now, these are not very common. I've been here at the city for 6 years, and I believe this is the third one that has been brought. The first one that's been brought since October of 2018. So with that, we'll get into it. All right, so the purpose of the stormwater ordinance, it requires installation of stormwater control measures when you're adding more than 5,000 square foot of impervious surface for a previously developed site or 20,000 square foot of impervious surface for new development. So those are the two main numbers to remember for the presentation. You've got 5,000 square foot for redevelopment, 20,000 square foot for new development, and then that triggers stormwater. The current Adams Street site has an existing 5,880 square foot of impervious site. It is proposing a development that will increase its square footage of impervious surface to 19,464. Currently, as the ordinance is written, it's characterized as redevelopment because it's gone over the threshold of 5,000 square foot of impervious because it has existing impervious surface on there, even though it still is going to be under 20,000 square foot of impervious surface. So what the owner is requesting is a variance so the site could be considered new development, which would allow for it to develop up to 20,000 square foot before implementing stormwater control. So because we don't do this, I'll go through a couple of examples to run you through what the ordinance currently does. So for example one, let's go through it as it's a new development. You've got the parcel size a little less than an acre. You have 0 existing impervious surface with a proposed development of 19,464. It's a net increase of less than 20,000 square foot. Stormwater control is not required. It's exempt. Example 2 would be of a redevelopment, same size, a little less than an acre. Just say you have an existing 15,000 square foot of impervious surface. Your proposed development is going to have 19,464. That's a net increase of less than 5,000 square foot. It's exempt. Stormwater is not required. So let's look at this third example. Same parcel size, less than an acre, but you have existing impervious surface of 5,880. Your proposed development is less than 20,000 square foot. However, it is an increase of more than 5,000 square foot. You've triggered stormwater control. So I've had 3 different examples up here with 2 different results. You either have stormwater control or you don't, even though all 3 sites have the same proposed development. So if you think about it, you really have a gap in the stormwater ordinance where you're actually penalizing these smaller sites that want to develop. However, they don't exceed the 20,000 square foot if it was a vacant land, a vacant parcel. This is the existing site. As you can see, it's a combination of 4 different parcels, 3 addresses. There's 3 structures currently on the site. These would all be combined into 1 parcel and 3 additional structures put on the site. Just kind of a zoomed out view. I've got the site shaded in the light blue. You'll see it is near Blunt's Creek and Cross Creek. It's about 1,900 linear feet from the convergence of those 2 creeks before it goes under 24. Site on the left is your pre-development impervious area. As you can see, the 3 existing structures with the driveway, and then the proposed site, which is 3 structures, sidewalk, and a parking lot. The steps city staff took, we met with the owner's engineer to review the project and the variance request. We also sent a letter of notice of petition for the variance request to every property owner within 500 feet. We only had 2 people call about the site. One was an actual tenant of the current structure. Another was a resident that was on a nearby street that did not understand why they were getting a variance letter. We put it in the Fayetteville Observer for 2 consecutive weeks, and we placed a notice of variance sign on the property so that it was well visible. Our staff recommendation is to approve the variance request so that we would allow this site to be considered new development. If the variance request is denied, then this would be considered redevelopment, and as proposed, it would trigger stormwater control measures. However, the site is very small, it does have restrictions to it, and it would be very hard to develop if it had to provide stormwater control measures. So if you think about it, if this was just a vacant lot, they could do up to 20,000 square foot of impervious surface. But because there were 2 existing houses on there, that's hamstringing the redevelopment while still keeping it under the 20,000 square foot of impervious surface. So with that, I'll.
Okay, thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers for this item?
Yes, sir, we have one speaker, Mr. Del Crawford.
Okay. Mr. Crawford, are you there? Mr. Crawford? Is he in person? Oh, okay. Mr. Crawford, can you hear us?
The deputy clerk's working on it, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay. While she's doing that, I did have a question
I have
for
a simple question.
the engineer, and I see Councilmember Ingram. Maybe if these are questions pertaining to staff, maybe we'll try to do it while they're working with Mr. Crawford.
Yes.
For our engineer, did I understand this correct? So, because there was once a home on here, and the home was demolished, because there was once a home there, this is being treated as a redevelopment versus a new development, even though it's not adding any more impervious surface than with either scenario. Is that correct?
The existing structures are still there.
Okay.
However, they would be demolished for this development to take place, and the new development would be under that 20,000 square foot threshold if it were considered a new development.
And so if any property has the building removed, is it always considered redevelopment, or when would it be new development?
If there was impervious surface on the site, it would be considered, by letter of the ordinance, it's considered redevelopment.
Thank you. Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mayor asked one of the questions. So I'm trying to gather some understanding. How is this, and this is just me not fully understanding, or me being a little confused from the presentation. How is this consistent with what the property owner is asking?
The property owner is asking for his proposed development to be considered new development. Therefore, it would have a 20,000 square foot threshold before it has to provide stormwater. And so staff is in support of the property owner's wish to grant the variance to consider it new development, because it is still under that 20,000 square foot threshold that would trigger stormwater control for a new development.
Okay, and then, so with this new development, if approved, where does that leave us with stormwater control?
Let me pull the map back up and I can show you. Okay.
I guess would it work with the cities? Would it be in the city's benefit?
So how the site is currently developed with the 3 existing structures, water sheet flows off the rear of the property through almost a vegetative buffer before it goes into Blunt's Creek. When the property is redeveloped, it would follow the same flow pattern off the sheet flowing off the rear of the property. through a vegetated buffer into Blunt's Creek.
Okay, but, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Ingram. Councilmember Hare, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. Now, stay right there. Well, we're on two different pages. So on the purpose page, if I'm understanding correctly, then if the owner could get it as, help me out, if the owner can get it as new development, he or they will not have to put in guidelines like retention ponds.
Right.
And things along that line. That's what we're saying?
Correct. They do not have to provide on-site stormwater control through means of a pond is one example.
So, and I guess my question now is going to back right back up to a council member that just spoke, Ingram. Then what's the protection is just the wooded buffer area as it?
The site wouldn't, the site.
Because, go back to your map, go back to where you're, so that clear area there, let's just say, well, we don't know if new construction means removing the properties that are there.
It will.
Okay, then if that's the case, I'm trying to see that water, where does that water now go?
It'll follow the same flow path. So it currently goes in this direction. And when the site is redeveloped, the way the new site will be graded, it'll still flow this way. It flows away from the right of way.
Okay, and it would not require the retention ponds?
If it's considered new development, you would not have to do the retention ponds or any other type of stormwater control.
So all it would have is existing?
Correct. It would just sheet flow off the property as though it was, if it was considered vacant.
You following that, Councilmember?
Yeah, well, let me just, since they're still trying to get the color on. So behind the wooded area where it looks like it says, is it Blunt? What is that? Okay, then back behind there, okay. All right, you answer you don't need to do any more. I see it. My question is answered. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Hare. So just to clarify, sir, and I know I've asked this, but I just want to make sure that we're tracking this. The water flow, and so there's no additional water impact that would happen by this classification. I understand that. So in other words, whether it's redevelopment or new development, your allowances are more if it's new. But if it's redevelopment because an existing house was there, when they build another structure there, the water still flows in the same direction and basically would still follow the same pattern. Did I hear you say that correct?
Yes, with the proposed development, there will be an increase in stormwater runoff from the site.
And faster.
Yes, because there's more impervious surface proposed. The only thing the applicant is asking is to consider a new development such that it's still under that 20,000 square foot threshold where it doesn't have to do on-site detention. It's a very small site. Putting a stormwater retention pond on a site this small, it uses up a lot of the useful area. And so it really, the way the ordinance is written with that gap, it really, you kind of deter redevelopment of these smaller dilapidated areas.
Which is why we have so many of them blighted. Mr. Crawford, I think he's on the line. Mr. Crawford, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Appreciate being allowed to speak. I'm Dale Crawford, Crawford Design at 116 North Cool Spring Street. And, of course, I'm speaking on behalf of the owner for the approval of the variance. But my office is only about a block from the site, and certainly excited to see the development of Adams Street that's been in decline for a number of years. Certainly good to see that. The hope is that it will be a catalyst for the continued improvements in that area. If council so chooses to grant this variance. Along with the client, we're certainly a firm that believes in sustainable principles. Of course, in that regard, you notice on the plan, even though there's not a retention pond because it literally would not fit, we do have sustainable principles as we do not have any stormwater piping on site. It is all handled through swales that actually infiltrate, a lot of the stormwater, instead of just direct runoff into the creek. And then, of course, it's such a small site. The restrictions also made it challenging to develop the parcel. That includes, of course, a sidewalk requirement because of the right-of-way in that area being so narrow. The actual city sidewalk has to be on the property and not within the right-of-way. And also, some topographic challenges and things. So, again, I think it's a nice development in an area that's been in decline, and would appreciate the council's approval of the variance and answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Did have a question, Councilmember Dawkins, Mayor Pro Tem, and then Councilmember Harrigan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Reeves, thank you. Great job in explaining something that can be challenging to get through. So now these are going to be, it's a multi-family development for apartments, all right? And what's it zoned now? Is it like SF6 or? I'm trying to understand. Mr. Crawford, do you know what this is zoned now? This
I believe it is SF6. I think it is, but it is, it is zoned for multifamily.
Okay.
The nice thing about these units, they're only, or buildings, they're only 4 units per building, so they're basically large houses. They're not that much bigger than well, they're about 4,800 square feet, I think, for each building.
All right.
So
And
it's in keeping with the neighborhood.
And this is, there's not a request for a special use, any of that sort of thing, no zoning change. So somebody's already seen this, I'm assuming, at staff besides our stormwater engineer. Yes, no?
They've not submitted for an infrastructure permit because the determination on the variance request would affect the site.
I got you, because then if we don't grant the variance, then it may not be developable with this particular schematic. All right, and Mr. Crawford, you mentioned swales. Is that somewhere in your, I noticed these excellent architectural designs, but I don't know what a swale looks like. It's
on the grading plan, and I don't know what you all have in your packet, but the grading plan shows basically a line between the two structures in the back, and then it turns and it's like a single line. Well, that would be the swale where the runoff from the parking area runs down, and that will allow some water infiltration.
All right.
The other thing that we're doing is we're not piping any of the roof drains. So the vegetated kind of filter strip around the buildings will also allow infiltration.
All right. And then I don't see additional bushes or trees that I'd love to see, because those help with retaining water.
Completely landscaped according to the ordinance. It's already been through TRC. Got comments back, and
all right.
We've addressed those.
That's exactly what I needed to know. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I've just got a few questions, and I know that we've discussed it, and I want to go back just to reiterate. So when I'm looking at this lot, I'm seeing 3 structures on the lot. And the structures that I'm looking at seem like they have some age on them. Are they rented? Are they vacant? Do we know?
I know that one of them's rented because the tenant was one of the calls that we received when we mailed out the variance letters. Actually, they called when we stuck the sign in the yard.
So I guess where, we have talked about revitalization and, neighborhoods and trying to get blight and trying to revitalize. I guess where I'm really having an issue with this, if these 3 properties were not on here, everything would be fine. He would be able to build this under the 20,000 square feet. But because there are 3 properties sitting on here that to me look like they're probably anywhere from 50 to 80 years old, that, of course 50 is young, but it looks like an older property, and that's all that we're gonna get if we don't, or he's gonna have to pay to do the stormwater, which is gonna eat up a lot of his land. So he's really not gonna be able to do much more than what he has here. And I'm assuming that stormwater will be double figures for him to put in. So when I mean double figures, it will be $10,000 to $20,000. So as a landowner that's paying property taxes on this piece of land, it is in his best interest to just leave it like it is if he doesn't get this variance. Just my humble opinion. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Before I go back to Councilman Hare, I go to Councilmember Ingram.
Mayor, I actually was prepared to make a motion.
Okay, coming back to you. Let me close the public hearing and I'll be right back. Councilman Hare.
Our question has been answered, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Council, I don't see any other hands for questions. So with that, we'll close the public hearing. I'll go to Councilmember Ingram.
Thank you, Mayor. I am struggling a bit with this item. I do have a final question. As Mayor Pro Tem just asked, if there are people, if it's being rented currently, does that mean people currently live there?
Just based off the phone conversation I had with one of the callers, I would assume that somebody is currently occupying one of the structures.
Okay, and
Councilmember Hill?
Yes, I'd like to move to deny the variance and consider the site redevelopment.
So there's a motion to deny. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram to deny. There's a
Mayor, go ahead. No, you're fine.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to deny. Councilmember Waddell, is that a second, or you had a question?
That is a second.
Second. All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Ingram for denial. There's a second by Councilmember Waddell. Any other questions on the motion? Councilmember Waddell, is that a question or you voting?
No, I want to just make one comment. I haven't said anything on this one, and it is regarding the motion.
Okay.
When I looked through this information, it troubled me given the number of issues that we have throughout our city with stormwater. And the one line that really gave me pause was the line that indicated that a portion of this is within the 100-year flood area. And so I just, for that reason, I just cannot support this variance. And I just wanted to make that be known. But my second does stand and I'm prepared to vote.
Okay. There's a motion.
Can I speak to that concern?
Well, we have a motion on the floor right now. We've closed the public hearing, so we'll see what comes up with the motion, and then we'll come back if necessary. Okay. So, council, any discussion on the motion? I think I'll add a bit. Certainly, we are are troubled by stormwater and what it means to this community. We also have a situation where we have an imbalance in how we apply our rules. That if this is because it once had a structure, even though it'll be changed, even though a new structure, new development, new things will occur, you would have got a certain exception. Because there's something that exists currently, you're given 1/4 of the amount of the allowance, even though it's the same size property. And so this has caused, this imbalance has been discussed for several years, I recall, but has caused a lot of areas in our community to go undeveloped and to not do that very revitalization that we're talking about in areas that need it. So I know this is a difficult choice about how you balance responsibility with stormwater, but this is, to me, is more about the inconsistency of the rules that we've created. And so that's what variances are created for special circumstances. And so with that, I wanted to take some of those things in consideration. So that's my part. There's a motion on the floor. Any other comments or discussions before we vote? All right, council, look to you for your votes. Those in the chambers, please use the lights. All right, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, and this motion on the floor is to deny. So those in chambers voting against the denial request, council members Kinston, Hare, Dawkins, and Mayor Pro Tem Jensen. Council member Ingram, what's your pleasure?
Green.
Council member Waddell?
Green.
Council member Davis?
Red, deny.
Council member Wright?
Green.
Council member Kinston? I'm sorry, Banks McLaughlin?
Green.
And Council member Kinston?
She's already voted, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, all right. I've got her voting twice. I'm sorry. All right, and I am a red on the denial. And so those voting in favor of the motion was council members Ingram, Waddell, and Wright. And those voting against the motion to deny, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, Mayor, also Councilman Dawkins, Hare, Davis, Kinston, and Banks McLaughlin, if I'm correct.
Mr. Mayor, I think Banks McLaughlin was,
That was
green.
Green.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, Madam Clerk, did you get it? I know I bundled that one.
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
write
fast enough.
I have the vote. Thank you.
All right. So the motion fails with a count of 6-4, I believe. Is that right, Madam Clerk?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. All right. So motion
Councilmember
fails.
Dawkins.
Councilman Dawkins?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the stormwater variance request for 343, 347, 349 Adam Street. That's my motion, Mr. Mayor.
We have a
Second,
second.
Davis.
All right. There's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins to approve the variance request. There's a second by Councilmember Davis. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. Okay, those in chamber? All right. So those voting in chambers, Dawkins, Hare, Kinston, and Jensen are green to approve. Councilmember Ingram,
Red.
Councilmember Waddell,
Red.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Red.
and Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Red.
and Mayor Green. So, Madam Clerk, what was the count on that?
That was 6-4 in favor.
Okay, motion carries. All right, item 7.05, renaming consideration of renaming Odd Court off Blanton Road to Apple Blossom Lane. Go to staff for this item.
Mayor, City Council, Taurus Freeman, Planning and Zoning Division Manager again. Similar to the stormwater variance, the city of Fayetteville has not had very many street namings that have occurred over the years. The last one was actually in 2015. So tonight I'm going to present two different street renamings. These are public hearings, and the process is the Cumberland County receives a request. They forward the request to our city staff, and city staff brings it before you all for decision. Our first request is SN 21-1. The applicant is Cumberland County. The location is Odd Court, and the property owner wants to rename the road to Apple Blossom Lane. This is the former location of the Lone Pine Mobile Home Park. It is actually located in District 4. And staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers for this?
No, sir, we have no speakers for this item.
All right, so we will, council, I'll move to you for any questions for Mr. Freeman before we close the public hearing? Seeing none, with that, we'll close the public hearing. I'll go to you for action. I guess District 4.
Yes, sir,
beg your
Mayor, I'd
pardon?
like to make a motion to approve item 7.05, SN 21-001 to consider to renaming Old Court off Blanton Road to Apple Blossom Lane.
And we have a second from Councilmember Dawkins.
Banks McLaughlin had did it virtually.
So I have to turn it into a machine, Donnie. You're going to turn it
Yeah,
into a
no,
computer.
This is rough. Well, we'll do with Councilmember Dawkins because I don't know when that came up. So
He
All
said
right,
that's
so we have
fine. It can go to
all right.
Councilmember Banks.
so we have a motion. by
My hand
Councilmember
was
Hare.
up before both of them.
No, I saw her pop up first, Councilmember. All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Wright, the second by Councilmember Banks McLaughlin. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I look to you for action on this item. Those in chambers. All right, those in chambers voting green, Councilmember Hare, Kinston, Jensen, and Dawkins. Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
and Mayor Green. Motion carries unanimously. Item 7.06, I assume this is Mr. Freeman.
That is correct, sir. So the next request is SN 21-2. This property, this roadway is actually unnamed at this time. It is created through the North Carolina Department of Transportation during construction of Interstate 295, which severed 21 parcels on the west side of South Raleigh Road. This property is located in District 7, and staff recommends approval.
All right, Madam Clerk, we have any speakers for this item?
No, sir, no speakers for this item.
All right, Council, we have any questions for Mr. Freeman before we close the public hearing? All right, seeing none, with that, I'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Wright, is this your district?
I think it's Councilmember, no, it's not.
I think it's council member.
It's Councilmember Kinston's district, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct,
I believe
Councilmember
so.
Kinston? Am I correct?
Thought he just said District 7.
That's right, District. Councilmember Wright.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, it's getting kind of confusing up here, I apologize. But
Okay, well-
Councilmember Kinston wanted to second, if that's okay.
That's
All
fine.
right, Councilman Wright, I need a motion from you, sir.
Yeah, I'll make that, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion that we approve this item.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilmember Wright, and the second was who? Councilmember Kinston?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilmember Wright, there's a second by Councilmember Kinston to approve. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Those in chambers, lights. All right, those voting in favor, in chambers, Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, Dawkins, Hare, and Kinston. Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
and Mayor Green. Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.01, fiscal year 2021 TFAs, Western Dog Park location for development. Mr. Manager, who's presenting?
Michael Gibson.
Mr. Gibson, you came to work this evening.
I was about to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Thought you just woke up and got here. Thank you.
Here we are. This has been a TFA, a Target for Action, promoted by new council member Kinston. We're currently in our portfolio for Parks and Recreation, we only have one dog park that sits out on 95 Business on 301. So what it's been our interest to sort of spread the wealth and develop some areas within the western part of the community so people don't have to travel that far. And there was a funding this year to do that. We were blessed enough to find 2 areas that were undeveloped, that's still city-owned property. And 2 of those areas one is off of Bailey Lake Road near the fire station, and the other is an undeveloped 2.5, 3-acre area over on Bonanza, off of Bonanza and Morganton Road at the Westover Recreation Area that borders Morganton Road. And we're bringing these 2 areas up for consideration for council to approve, so we can go ahead and make those 2 areas into dog parks on existing city-owned property.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gibson. Madam Clerk, we have any speakers for this item?
So this is not a public hearing.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. We had so many tonight, you know, got used to it. All right. Councilmember Ingram, you had a question?
It wasn't necessarily a question, but I will say I want to thank Councilmember Kingston for pushing this. I want to thank staff for I guess, you know, doing the work on the end. And on Sunday, we had a lot of people at our dog park, which is off of 95. And while I think me and Marley are going to miss some of those furry friends, I am excited that we are gaining another dog park in the city. And if Kingston makes the motion, will proudly second it. And Marley's over here happy about it as well.
All right. Well, good for you and Marley. And thank you, Councilwoman and Councilwoman Kinston.
Question.
Councilmember Hare
pleasure.
has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then Ms. Kinston. Councilman Kinston.
Explain,
Councilman Hare.
Mr. Director,
Yes, sir.
trying to visualize that property.
I'm trying to bring it up on the screens.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to look at it in what I have here. In the, that's adjacent to the Westover Park, because I know that area so well. And I know that we have some wooded area that runs off the peripheral of the walking track. Is that the area?
Yeah, if you can look at your screen right now, this is the grocery store that sits right on Bonanza, the big grocery store, and you can see our football field that sits right here. We still have the 3.5 acres that sits right behind there, that's connected, and you can see there's a power line that goes
I
through
know
right here.
where you are.
And we're going to develop this, and the walking trail that you're familiar with sits right here. You can see it
Right,
there.
right, yeah.
So, but we're going to put a parking lot, gravel parking lot over here, so you can come off of Morganton Road and drive, or you can park over here at the rec center and walk over there.
So you don't have outside of what's in our CAM, I guess this is, well, yeah, this is all we have to look at tonight.
Yes, sir. This is the area. We want to make sure now when we get ready to develop, we'll get you a prettier picture.
Okay. Will there be, it's not much there. Now, I know by the track, we still have some trees, so we're gonna have some buffer there. And right behind the grocery store, I know that area well. I'm assuming we're gonna have a line of buffering there,
Oh, yes, sir.
right? So we're not gonna just run directly up to the asphalt or to the back. So it's gonna be buffering all the way around.
Right,
Some of our trees.
right, and if you look at that now, it's a pretty big area. 3.5
It
acres
is,
pretty
it is.
big.
I know the area. I know
Yes,
the area. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you,
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember.
I'm sorry.
Ma'am, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Councilmember Kinston is next, if there's no other speakers.
No, there's no other speakers. Councilmember Kinston?
Make your motion, love.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve 20.1674 for the fiscal year 2021 target for action for the Western Dog Park for Bailey Lake and for off of Bonanza.
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Kinston. There's a motion to approve item 8.01, and there's a motion by Councilmember Kinston, there's a second by Councilmember Ingram. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right, those in chambers, Green, Councilmembers Kinston, Hare, Jensen, and Dawkins. And Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks McLaughlin,
Green.
and Mayor Green. All right, motion carries unanimously. So thank you all.
Thank y'all.
Yep, item 8.02.
Yes, sir.
Second quarter strategic plan.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Rebecca Jackson, Chief of Staff, and I'm here tonight to present item 8.02, the City of Fayetteville Second Quarter Performance Report. And so in the interest of time, as I stand before you in the gavel, it's been a very long and productive meeting. I'll make my comments very brief. I have 4 slides, only 4 slides tonight with a very high-level review. And I'll start with the first slide that's just a reminder that City Council charts the course for Fayetteville's future with a 10-year vision statement, which cultivates a collective understanding for the community as a culturally diverse city that is inclusive, safe, prosperous, innovative, and unified. And of course, our mission as an organization is to provide those quality services for the community to thrive and businesses to grow. Slide number 3 is City Council develops those 6 different goals. They're 5-year goals, which lays our path toward fulfilling that vision. These strategic goals and their key performance measures, they help us determine when we have moved the needle in the right direction. The goals focus us on being a safe and secure city, one with a responsive city government supporting a diverse and viable economy, a city that invests in today and tomorrow through infrastructure and technology, a desirable place to live, work, and recreate, an organization that is financially sound, and one that provides exemplary city services, and a local government that focuses on collaborating with citizens and businesses. Our City Council identified this year 15 targets for action or projects with measurable activities to accomplish those strategic goals and objectives. The targets for action, or TFAs as we like to call them, are council identified strategic initiatives that are typically either a council policy item, a new program or initiative, a major CIP project, or maybe a specific program improvement effort. On your screen, you'll note that of the 15 targets for action, 12 TFA, or about 80%, are in the green at second quarter, meaning that the action plans are on target. City Council and staff have been incredibly active in moving these forward. Even tonight, you had several TFA items come before you, like just the dog parks that Mr. Gibson was just referring to, the Parks and Rec Master Plan. We've had the Senior Center West Center for Murchison Road redevelopment, and then of course the recently celebrated great news regarding the citywide fiber network that we've received. All of those are action plans within your TFA. 3 TFA are yellow or slightly behind schedule. Those are the TFA that largely depended on significant community engagement. Those efforts have slightly slowed with the impact of COVID. You've heard about them already. Council received a great deal more detail in all of the TFA reports and the team reports, which highlight all those specific milestones, and we're not going to go through them tonight. But what I do want to make sure we cover is that moving forward, it is that time of year again for City Council, where you will be providing city staff, city manager's office, your strategic direction for the next fiscal year. I want to remind you that we will be holding the annual strategic planning retreat in this council chamber this year, just because of all of the technology and the things that will keep us safe from COVID. So this will be in the chamber this year, February 19th and 20th. Your strategic consultant, Dr. Manzo, is here with us this week. She's talked to, I think, at least one of you today. She is holding all of the interviews this week with each of you, and that helps us to shape the work plan for your retreat. And tonight, City Council, with that, we're just asking that you accept that second quarter report, the performance report on the 15 TFA, as we move the city forward. Council, additionally, you'll receive a strategic planning retreat agenda fairly soon as we shape that plan, as soon as it's finalized. And with that, I'll take any questions. We have staff here who have stayed the evening with us. Just wondering if you were going to have any questions, but we'll take any questions that you have at this time.
Mr. Mayor, I have Councilmember Dawkins.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready to make a motion when you say, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, coming to you. Thank you, Ms. Rebecca. Thank you, staff members who have stayed tonight through the course of the meeting. So, Councilman Dawkins, let me check these two hands I have, unless they're motions. Councilmember Ingram, do you have a question or a motion?
It was a motion, but I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Banks, is that a motion or a question?
A question.
Okay.
Let me go back to it. Well, the only question I have is regarding the Day Resource Center. Let me go back. Where are we with that? I mean, because I don't see a date or anything that's out there.
That's right, ma'am. That was a continuing item at year end, so it wasn't a qualified target for action. But I do have Mr. Chris Culley here if he wants to step to the mic to answer your question.
And,
Thank you, Rebecca.
We are
Thank you, ma'am.
in the process of getting appraisals and reappraisals of a parcel. And once those are completed and we have satisfied the state with our due diligence, we'd be able to move forward with an actual offer.
Good.
In the interest of, we discussed this property acquisition with council previously, but this is one of the hurdles that the state using this money is making us go through. The delay is causing us some loss of sleep in that every day that we don't close on the property, there's something that could go awry. But as of right now, I'm still believing that that work is underway and we should have good news for council in the next 30, 60 days.
Councilman Banks.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, before I go to Councilmember Dawkins, Mr. Manager, how long does it take to get an appraisal? We've been hearing that for probably 2-3 months now, right?
No, just since January and December, we had to put those out to bid and get one appraisal, and then you had to get an appraisal of the appraisal. But we are, as well as it has to be someone qualified through the state. it's not just reaching out and grabbing someone out of a phone book. But we are moving with all due haste and making sure that we are crossing the Ts and dotting the Is.
Okay, all right. Councilman Dawkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief of Staff Jackson. Well done, great report. Mr. Mayor, if it please the council, make a motion to accept the fiscal year 2021 second quarter strategic performance report.
So there's a motion by Councilmember Dawkins. There's a second, I think, by Councilmember Ingram.
Correct.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Those in chambers with lights. Mayor Pro Tem, lights. All right, those voting in favor in chambers, Councilman Hare, Kinston, Jensen, and Dawkins. Councilmember Ingram,
Green.
Councilmember Waddell,
Green.
Councilmember Davis,
Green.
Councilmember Wright,
Green.
Councilmember Banks, McLaughlin,
Green.
and Mayor Green. All right, motion carries unanimously. All right, council, look to you for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
I was gonna say, I didn't think y'all would be that quiet for adjournment.
So move, Mayor.
All right. All right.
We weak.